Ladies and gentlemen, here we are. The Roundtable Rumble has returned, and it is time for the Wrestlemania edition. Now, in case you're wondering, there's only 4 of us right now. The invite has been dropped in the chat for up to 10 of us to come in here. If they show, they show. If they don't, they don't. More fun for us that are here in attendance. Everybody, how y'all doing?
Good, good. How are you doing?
Good, man.
Love and life. All right. So, who are you? Where are you from? Just to let the audience know. What show are you from? Just to let the audience know as it builds and grows. What we got going on here.
I am Sarah Hirsch, and I am from Peaches and Power Bombs with Tina Miller.
Tom Clark with Tom Clark's Main Event and Tom Clark's 6M podcast.
Scott Larson from the Hashtag Truth.
And I am a Saint from the Real Wrestling Community of the Wrestling Wire podcast. So, guys and ladies, we had 2 nights of WrestleMania. What a spectacle it was. I can't believe the amount of content that we got out of that show, even though when you add it up, we're looking at 10 and a half hours or better of showtime. Not including
plus the Hall of Fame.
Well, yeah, the Hall of Fame was Friday after SmackDown, and then you had the NXT show and just nothing but content over the weekend. It was a great, in my estimation, it was one of the better WrestleManias since probably 30, where Wrestlemania occurred. It was probably one of the best ones since then, in my estimation. And anybody out in the audience, feel free to comment in because we will gladly pop up your comments. And, if you got interesting points, we'll bring them up on the show. So that's what's fun about this. We like to do full fan interactions. So let's go ahead and get this party started. Night 1. Let's see here.
Well, I'm going to say this right away while you're doing that because I know what you're doing.
Okay.
I went into WrestleMania this time without any. I didn't go in going, okay, I'm going to check and make sure they don't do any botches. I went in as a fan this time. I went in and said, I told myself before it even started, I'm going to go in as though I don't know anything about wrestling. This is the first time I've ever seen a wrestling show, and I'm going to see how it feels. And I had a great time. I'm not going to lie. Now, I did, of course, in the back of my mind, do what I said I wasn't going to do. But I popped for the things they wanted me to pop for, except for one. And we'll talk about that. I'm pretty sure all of us are going to talk about that. And everything else. Man. I went in there.
Hi.
What's going on?
Hello. What's going on, Saint, Scott, Tom?
What's up, man?
Hi.
Going.
Good, good, good. Huh? What?
Y'all doing headphones then?
Yeah, I got to do headphones now. Something went out with my mic, so it is what it is. But this is Harry Bernard Taylor, one half of the Straight Up Wrestling Show. Welcome to the show, but we're just getting fired up, man. We're just getting started.
All right.
I think night 1 was my favorite of the 2. I'm like Scott. I actually went on a little Raw break, kind of a SmackDown break, and I didn't have any expectations either. I actually was not like hyped up and looking forward to it, but absence makes the heart grow fonder, and I really think they understood the assignment. That's for sure.
I'll agree.
Yeah, I think probably everybody will be on the same page that night 1 was better than night 2 for a glaringly obvious reason. But yeah, it's I don't really follow WWE all that much. I don't know. It's just a lot to wade through, and it's so overly produced. But that's me. Other people love it and they go with God, brother. It's fine. But like, it's just a lot to swallow. And it's a lot of content, and that's fine. The 3-hour stuff. I know I don't rant on the 3 hours. So, oh, it shouldn't be 3 hours. Shut up. They're getting all kinds of advertising dollars out of that. Let it go. Who cares? The point is there quality in the 3 hours? And in my opinion, a lot of times there's not. There's the cat.
Yeah.
I got
Alright.
upstaged by the cat. Are you kidding me?
Sorry.
Man, it happens. Harry, what's your thoughts, bud?
Well, man, it was a the first night was very good, very good. I mean, high quality. I mean, like as far as touching on what Tom said, I mean, the quality was great. I mean, yes, they got a lot of advertising dollars out of it, and plus night two, the same thing. But I mean, as far as night two, it kind of like it was drab. It dragged on pretty much after you had the first night. The first night, man, was like I said, it was a great night of wrestling. It's just that them continuing it on, and plus so much wrestling during the week. I mean, it pretty much can wear on you. So, and plus, I think a lot of the matches that they could have switched a few of those matches from night two to night one, and put a couple of those matches from night one should have been on night two, and I think it wouldn't have been as I don't know. I don't think it would have been as slow. It made it seem like it was a slow night compared to the night before. So, but overall, man, I think they did a good job. I think if they ever decide to do this again, do a 2-night spectacular, they need to look back on this, and see what they did wrong, because there certainly was some misses in here.
So last year was 2 nights as well, was it not?
Mhm.
Yeah, it was 2 nights last night.
And next year's already advertised as being 2 nights. So
Okay.
and I'm going to tell y'all this flat out. I enjoy this as 2 nights way better than I can 1 night where it's like 12 hours long.
Right.
And because realistically, the last one that was this long, pre-COVID, right?
Mhm.
I can remember sitting down or sitting out in the living room, and I had guests over. By the time the main event hit, we were all falling out. Like, it took everything to stay up and keep going. But then again, I had made this gigantic amount of food. But at any rate, I'm gonna catch up on some comments, and then we'll start breaking down some matches. Let's see. We got hey everyone from Jamel Fisher. Hey Jamel.
Hey, Jamal.
Timothy
Jamel
Gabriel.
is a loyal fan of Tom Clark's main event. What's up, Jamel in Vegas? Good to see you.
Oh, fantastic. That's so cool, man. Timothy Godfrey, a local referee here in the South Carolina area. The insight, man, Tom, let me tell y'all one thing. I got to sit next to a referee while I'm running sound, and to hear a referee's perspective on what's occurring in the ring, it took me to a whole new level. I was like, wow, that was so. I think very highly of Timothy. He's a great dude, and he's a great ref.
What's going on, Timmy?
Be sure you write that one down for Mr. Benfield. If you get a chance.
Absolutely.
If you need a ref, holler at my boy right there. Jamel said night one was better. Let's see here. Missy Childers, very disappointed in Lesnar Reigns. We will get to that, Missy. I promise you we're going to get to it, because I went ahead and did the homework for everybody. We're going to make it real simple. It's just like that. Opening match. The Usos defeated Shinsuke and Boogs.
You could tell when Boogs got hurt. That was a sudden ending. I hate it for him. You could see where his knee popped, and it was bad. But overall, it was a good match. I think the Usos are on the top of their game. I've always thought they have been, and I'm glad they won. So, just solidifying that whole bloodline reign. We the ones. That's right.
I sort of foresaw that. The Usos weren't going to lose, not as long as they're going to keep Reigns on top. They're just not going to lose.
I just Shinsuke Nakamura. I mean, I want to see more. I feel like he deserves better. Not saying what he's in is terrible, but we all know the potential Shinsuke Nakamura has, and it's like, why are you wasting him? Like, I gotta get the drill.
Send him back to singles and let him do this thing.
Yeah, get it.
I mean, the bit about Nakamura, you're right. I mean, as fans, we sit back and say, "Man, look what he did in Japan, King of Strong Style. The guy is amazing." And how many years has he spent in this company not doing half of what he could do? My counter to that would be his body probably feels good. He's not getting destroyed in the ring like he was in Japan, because man, if you're sink or swim in that country in New Japan, buddy. So, and also he's getting paid much better than he ever got paid in Japan, allegedly. His family likes it here. He's happy. And Sarah, I'm with you 100%. As a fan, I want to see more, but I can't fault the guy for taking the check. Bank every dollar you can. This business won't last forever, So, but I'd love to see him eventually one day say, "Man, I'm ready to go back home for a few years and then call it a career." I think that'd be awesome. So,
Yeah.
Eric?
Yeah. Man, I don't know. I really the Usos, man, they're top notch. I mean, in my book, they're top notch. They're on top of the game, like Sarah said. I mean, they really have a great presence to them, and I think it's very important as far as wrestling today to have that presence, because we don't have the landscape and the landscape of fans that we had in the past. So people like the Usos and their cousin, and a few other wrestlers out there, man, is really representing the game and really taking it to another level. And as far as Shinsuke Nakamura, man, he definitely, I'm 100% with Tom and Sarah on this. He definitely needs to be in on a higher plateau. He definitely has the skill, man, and to where he should shine a little bit more. So I mean, I don't know if they're gonna put him on that over in WWE, or if he has to go home and get that shine. So I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see where he's gonna go from here.
Right. Now, in my book, I realistically don't know 100% if the way the match ended was the way it was supposed to. While I'm not discrediting the We the Ones, because in my opinion, if you're talking about the greatest tag teams walking the planet today, they are undoubtedly in that conversation. And it's not, that's nothing anybody can say across any company. I mean, the Briscoes, the Usos, the FTRs, the New Day, even there may be one, or I mean, personally, I believe Imperium is one of the most impressive tag teams as well. They don't get the spotlight that everybody else gets. Look at, I mean, TV exposure alone. Okay, TV exposure alone tells you that. But I believe that as sound as those guys are in the ring, as talented as they are in the ring, I put them up in that pedestal as one of the best teams walking the face of the earth as well. I'm not all that big, and most of you guys already know, and anybody who doesn't, I'll educate you now. I do watch everything as much as I can. Like if you wanted me to include the NWA stuff, I got to go with the Heat Seekers, as being a great tag team. But then again, you got to remember, I've also met Matt, and I've met these guys, and I've seen them work in person, so it's a little bit different for me. But I don't include a lot of teams in that upper echelon anymore. It's not all about just how popular you are. You don't have to be the most popular tag team to be the most dominant or to be a phenomenal team and do great teamwork. But I realistically think that that Shinsuke and Rick were going to win the titles, minus the fact that Rick got hurt. So that's just my theory on the matter. But overall, for an opening match for Mania, other than the fact somebody got hurt, I think it was a stellar way to open the show.
Yeah, it was a good match, real good match. So,
and I feel bad. I feel bad for Boogs as well. No one really gives him enough credit. This guy puts the work in. He lives in the gym. He's an example of a WWE guy who does everything he's asked to do with a smile on his face. He promotes the company on all of his social media. He's always talking about his character and his gimmick. He's putting the work in, putting the time in. I want good things to happen for him. Being next to Nakamura has got to have been the best thing for him. He was probably fangirling over that. And I'm sure Nakamura has gotten his ear and told him at times, like, dude, slow down, do this, do this. So that's got to have helped him with
Just
with
sitting
nothing
under
else,
his
like-
under that learning tree. I
Yes.
mean,
Oh yeah,
sure.
yeah.
kind of like Omos and AJ Styles last year. What an opportunity, you know.
We'll get there
Right.
too, won't we?
We'll
Mhm.
oh, trust me, we
Woo.
got guys. Look, time is money, and we got all of it here, buddy. That's how it is. All right. So, but once again, good opening, solid match. Moving on now, McIntyre defeats Corbin.
Mhm.
Somebody else start. Not it.
McIntyre is a top guy, and he needs to be treated as such. And that's no disrespect to Corbin. Corbin's playing his part, and I don't dislike Corbin as a guy. I don't like the gimmick. I don't like the Madcap Moss stuff. That's me personally. I think Corbin in the right role could be a despicable heel, but he's just too goofball for me. And I can't. I think Drew should have better, in my opinion.
I think this was something, for him to do, just stay in the game pretty much. I'm glad to see McIntyre win. I said on Peaches and Power Bombs that there could be a possibility that we might see Drew McIntyre play a role in the championship picture heading into SummerSlam, because the one thing that Roman said in his promo the Monday before WrestleMania was he had never beat Brock at WrestleMania. Now that he has, that's enough clout for Drew McIntyre to say, hey, I also beat Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. It only took me one time, but it took you, 3 times? Hey, I think I deserve a shot. So that story writes itself, and I think that would be a good thing going into SummerSlam for sure.
I totally agree with I totally agree that Corbin, this gimmick is garbage to me. I think Corbin could be done a lot better. I miss the lone wolf Corbin.
Me too.
I miss. That's the Corbin. The serious come out, be the heel, come out and destroy people. That's the Corbin I miss. And I hope they come back to that. It might not be the lone wolf, but back to that kind of, gimmick.
Yeah,
And,
it was like after he kind of left that, it just, the whole Constable, that's what I'm looking for. All that, and then sad Corbin, happy Corbin, this, and oh god, he's annoying to me, but I really like the lone wolf gimmick too. And
the only question that I had going through my mind after the end of that match is how many times did they practice that Claymore swing to make sure that those ropes didn't snap out and hit somebody in the face or do whatever. Oh, they practiced that. They had to have, because he's not going to do that on a whim.
No.
So that statement alone brings up a lot of very interesting points. Number one, and this is first and foremost in my mind, because you got to think the only rings I've ever been near are indie rings, right? They use real ropes, not cables. That's weird. I was like, wait, what? So that kind of threw me for a loop. The whole sword thing, only thing that told me was, great, the rings broke. I got a chance to go to the bathroom. So I knew I had an extended delay right there. So that worked out well. But other than that, I don't disagree with anybody here. The thing about Baron Corbin, and I'll touch on this, is the fact that the man has a degree in psychology. So it doesn't matter what role you put him in, he has a way to figure it out. So whether it's the happy, the sad Corbin was fun. I loved it.
Yeah,
it was hilarious.
It was really fun, man. I thought, it was so many different ways they could have went with that. I mean, it's so many. I think they missed the ball on that. I mean, as far as they didn't take it as deep as they could have took it, and it's pretty much over now. They went really quick into the happy Corbin thing, and I believe the happy Corbin thing has played out. But as far as the match go, man, I thought it was a very good match, and I thought Corbin, I thought he really presented himself well in this match. I mean, even though McIntyre got the match, but it seemed like to me that McIntyre was kind of like bored with this match. It's like, I want to move on from this, and I want to be more in the title picture because we know this was the second match in match in the first night, and I believe McIntyre was like, I deserve to be a little bit on a higher echelon than where I'm at right now. So seems like he was a little preoccupied with in thinking that, hey, I should be higher up, I shouldn't be right here, and he was bored with that match. But I think he did really well, and I think it turned out to be a pretty good match. So, but yeah, I was really shocked, like what Scott was talking about, man, as far as the ropes, that Claymore shot to those ropes, man, it just really stunned me that he did that. But that was crazy.
Yeah, you brought this up in on the comments here. I was going to bring that up. Drew McIntyre is the first person to kick out of the end of days
ever.
So that was a big moment.
Yeah, it was.
That was a big deal.
That's another thing that he would have going for him should he challenge Roman Reigns.
Yeah. Oh, that was
right.
They'd be fools not to put McIntyre up there now against Roman. They would be. Oh, I'm sorry, they just would be. In my opinion.
I don't know where it's going. Tom, what you got?
I just you got to wonder. Sometimes I wonder, what do these two guys think? Like, I've said this ad nauseum on your show, on my own shows over the years. There's two realities. There's the one that we think, and there's their reality. So in their world, these guys are probably bros. They're friends. They're friendly at least. They're like, hey, man, what do you want to do tonight? Let's do this. Let's do that. And, they're looking at it like, hey, what are you doing after this? Well, maybe I'll get to do this, So if they both see value in this, I don't know, more power to them. I hope something good comes of it from both of them. But it's just hard to imagine Drew having been here and WrestleMania main event, for God's sake. And then, but that, I don't think that's even a reflection on him. I just think it's, well, pal, let's just do this.
Yeah.
All right.
So the other reality of it is this, and I don't know about whether your pay scale changes or whatever, depending upon where you're at in the card, because I'm thinking of it from my brain here. Okay, what I'm seeing is you've got Roman Reigns at a constant contract. If his contract is here, does it make a difference where he's at on the card, whether he's match 1 or match 25?
I think for a guy Roman's position, we talking about Roman, Cena, Orton, probably. I think probably not, but for someone like Drew, main event is more. I can't sit here and tell you how many dollars we're talking, but from what I've always understood, you get better, and plus if it's a bigger house, they are going to take that into account, just like the good old days of, we drew a bigger house, you're in the main event, all the boys get a little bit more. I mean, obviously it's not being handled that way anymore. You're not getting paid under the table, right? But I would suspect that the bigger the show, the bigger the match you're in, you're going to be bonused out a little bit heavier, I would imagine.
Well, I mean, you get a bonus check, but I mean, they probably have a preconceived notion on a minimum percentage figure.
Could
like
be.
you get. I think I heard it explained that way. I want to say Punk explained it that way. Don't quote me, but I think Punk said it on the one he did with the Colt Cabana guy. I think he did it
Art
on
of
his show.
Wrestling.
It was either that or it was another behind the scenes where Punk was talking about it. I'm fairly confident that it was Punk that said it, how it went out. You get a different bonus check for Mania and you get a bonus check for this and this. But, either way, you got to figure that I'll put you, I guess. I go to work every day and I get paid. I really don't care what I have to do at work, whether I'm wiping the toilets or I'm handling what I handle in front of a computer screen. If I'm getting paid, I'm getting paid. So I see what you guys mean, but in the long term, career wise and, money wise with the retirement, a 20-year career is huge for anybody. Anybody that
Mhm.
lasts 20 years in this industry is insane, right? So a 20-year career, which Drew is rapidly approaching, he's closer to that than he is the beginning. You've got to figure on your way out, you want to get those nice, consistent, steady holding checks that make your retirement days a whole lot easier. So there is that. We're gonna add a few comments in here. Corbin's a great wrestler as well as Drew, but they could have done so much more with it. You're not wrong, but after the burner of the opening match, you can't continue to go up because eventually you're not going to be able to hit that peak anymore.
Mhm.
It's not going to happen. I say bring The Rock versus Roman. Roman wins it. Mania Ultimate head of the table role.
I'm going to talk about that when we get to the match.
Eventually, Cassius. I agree. All right. A surprise match for my book for how well it was. Miz and Logan Paul defeated the Mysterios. Start us off, Scott.
I'm going to say this, and you could disagree with me all you want, but I'm going to be steadfast on this. Logan Paul surprised the crap out of me with his wrestling skill. I did not know that was in Logan Paul. I was expecting, oh my gosh, this guy's going to come in there. He's going to do a few, arm drags and, some things that they taught him. This kid went out and wrestled. I mean, he
He
wrestled.
did.
I was impressed. I mean, he opened my eyes to, okay, these guys down there at the center where they train, these guys know what they're doing, because in a small amount, and I know he had some wrestling in his past, but not like this. He was putting in some moves. I mean, and then what Miz did to him at the end, that was just, to me, that was totally awesome. That was just a Miz saying, hey, you're taking some of my spotlight, and that's just pure Miz. I loved it. I loved the whole match. I was in love from the second it started to the end. I was on the edge of my seat.
I try to keep things separate from the guy and the character. I always have tried to do that. The character wise, he was, like, I'll echo what Scott said. It was top notch. I mean, he delivered. But, he probably had 8 weeks of ring time to get ready too, which is all good, maybe longer. But yeah, it's all good. I mean, he's a very athletic kid and everything. The person side of it, I don't care for him and his brother, either one. That's personal. I just, attention hounds and, just as far as are they quality human beings? But as far as ring work, man, he was ready. I mean, I can't dispute that. And yeah, Miz has to lay him out, because that story doesn't end with they celebrate. That story ends with the wrestler is the last guy standing. That should always be the case, in my opinion. I mean, whether we're talking about Dennis Rodman or Karl Malone or Stephen Amell, who did fantastic every time he's been in the ring, in my opinion, the wrestler should be standing tall in the end in some form or fashion. So, I mean, he did great. Do I want to see him again? I don't know.
That statement you just made, Tom, with the wrestler should always stand tall at the end, is going to play hell later on the show, but we'll get to that when we get there.
Sure.
Yeah,
Sorry, go ahead.
Tom and Scott brought up that good point, because at first I was like, why did he do that? But that makes a lot of sense. It was like Logan Paul upstaged the Miz. I didn't think about that. So thank you for bringing that up, because now I get that. And of course, the Miz is his intention hound. So, but yeah, Logan Paul impressed me too. I think Dominic Mysterio, he impresses me a lot. You could tell he works hard and he takes it seriously. I'm glad to see that him and Ray got to team up together at WrestleMania. I was really looking forward to see what kind of entrance, what kind of gear they wore. And the gear that they wore was a tribute to Eddie Guerrero from when he was in, I think, AAA wrestling. My guest last night told me that. I wasn't quite sure, but she said it was from AAA wrestling. He had wore something similar like that. So,
oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. That's awesome.
mm-hmm.
Okay, well, yeah, it was a good match. I really, I think it was a above average match, man. It really was. I thought it was really good. As far as Logan Paul, at first I was a little surprised by it because I was looking for him to. I thought he would look decent as far as going in there, but I didn't think he would look as polished as he did. But I go back and I look at his boxing background. Anybody that's been in the ring like he has, I mean, with his boxing background, it's not big or whatever. But anytime somebody is like him and his brother, man, who makes lots of money on YouTube and things like that, they have played around. Anybody that goes into where you want to box and whatever, and then you box somebody, you might not be boxing a professional boxer or somebody who has an extensive amateur background, but you get out there and you box people like they box MMA fighters and things like that. He got in the ring with Floyd Mayweather, even though Floyd probably was taking it light on him. I'm sure he was, but he got in the ring with Floyd Mayweather. But somebody who does something like that, who has money and all that, they played around with wrestling and boxing. They played around with that stuff when they was growing up. So I'm pretty sure he was in the living room, maybe in the backyard or whatever, running around, jumping on his friends, and they were jumping and, fake wrestling, doing kind of things, man, doing things like that to get him. And it got him more prepared to go in here and do that. He probably was good at slap boxing. I mean, if you somebody, that's something that we used to do when I was growing up, slap boxing and things like that. So I was an amateur boxer, so I can go in there, I can slap box with somebody, and you couldn't even tell the difference, so he's used to going in, he's probably this something, that he's probably been preparing to do all of his life, but still to go in there with the small bit of training that he had, man, since he's been over there in WWE and do it that well, man. I mean, big ups to him. Yeah, I mean, you can't. It doesn't matter what you think about his. As far
I mean, by no means do I want to see him be a wrestler, but
yeah, I don't want to see him be a wrestler either. I agree with you. I agree with Tom on that too. I mean, I don't really care for him nor his brother or whatever, and I don't care to see him again. But as far as what he did Saturday night, man, I mean, I was impressed. Or Friday night, whatever. I was impressed with that. So can't take anything away from him, man. But what happened at the end, what the Miz did, man, it cracked me up, and I thought that was I thought they played that off well, man. It came off pretty good.
Oh, yeah. And I agree with that. Now, reality is 4 months away from SummerSlam. I got a feeling we're going to get the Miz versus Logan Paul.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to get the turn that I haven't decided whether we're going to get the face turn out of the Miz, which I hate the idea of, or if we're going to get Logan Paul going over at SummerSlam, which is what I feel is going to happen if they go that route. Because Logan Paul could legitimately knock the Miz out. And we know that. Whether once again, not a quality person. I don't like him or his brother for anything. I don't watch their YouTube trash. I try to keep it away from stuff that's like that. I'm the most toxic person I'm around. That's it. Just me. I don't do anything else for anybody. I stay away from negativity as best I can. But once again, Logan Paul surprised me. I liked the continuity of how their team flowed. They flowed great for two people that have never been in the ring together. Mm-hmm. It was cool. It worked out the way the Mysterios worked out. Just to me, for a celebrity match, you couldn't have asked for anything more. It's, in my estimation, Bad Money still number one, but Logan Paul's, I'm going to say he's up there. He's up there in the upper echelon for celebrity competitors. Adding some comments here, surprised the hell out of me. Yep, sure did. People laughing. Jamel said, much better than I thought it would be. Agreed. It was way better than I thought it would be. Miz is the best heel in the business. I'm not going to agree with that. I don't agree with that. I think he's up there. Yet again, he's probably top 5 heel in the business. But there's two different types of heel here. You've got the true draw hate and heat heel, and then you've got the it's cool to be a bad guy heel. Roman Reigns is it's cool to be a bad guy heel. He doesn't draw that much heat. He's just the cool bad guy. and he's a heel. That's what that is, because his merch sales are still high as heck. And there's
Sorry. Go ahead.
Case and point right there. But let's see. It was a good match. Missy's right on that. I love the Miz, says Jamel. Okay. Logan Paul had it in his contract for Miz to turn and Paul to end the night as a babyface. But why? He's
how do we
puke.
know that?
And that could be speaking toward what you were saying, though.
But
that
how do we know that? Who revealed that?
Heath Mulligan said that. I
I'd love
know,
to know if that's true.
I have no idea. I know Heath Mulligan from something. I just don't know what, because I have a terrible memory.
Heath Mulligan does his own podcast. He's been a podcaster for years. He's a good podcaster. I don't know where he got this information. I mean, I would love to know, but
who's the source? I'd love to look it up.
He said the
Who's the
story
source?
came out today. And send me a link, brother.
Put the link up,
you're on my friends list. Send me the link and I will share it with the class so we can all talk about it. But I appreciate the information and the context there. Definitely. But once again, overall wasn't bad. Night one seemed to have a surprising amount of bangers, and this, ladies and gentlemen, was one of them. This was a barn burner right here.
This was my favorite match of the night.
I want to preface this.
I agree, sir.
With one thought. In the beginning, when I was watching it, I was like, God, they're botching over and over and over again. But the more I watched it and the more I analyzed it, it wasn't that they were botching. It's that they were so evenly matched that it looked like mistakes more than forced errors.
There was at least, I think I stopped counting at like 25 reversals in this match. It was beautiful. To me, that was beautiful. I mean, it was like they were studying each other. They even made the comment during the match that, she was studying her for that. It went back and forth, and I love that. That got me to pop. I was like, man, not only are you two great wrestlers, and the build for Bianca and the way Becky took Bianca out the last time, that was garbage to me. But I understand why they did it, but to me, it was garbage to take Bianca out in like 30 seconds. But now I understand. Now they built, and gave her a WrestleMania moment. So it all came to fruition. But this match, I agree, is one of the matches of the night. I have my own opinion. Nobody's going to agree with me, but but this was one of the matches of WrestleMania right here. The whole shebang. This was one of the top matches in my opinion.
I think I would have felt better at SummerSlam if Becky would have did the disarmer versus her version of the rock bottom. But yeah, this match more than made up for that. And the thing I was saying, I said this on my podcast last night. Becky's fantastic, and I think if anything, she really, really improved on since coming back from having a baby. Her facial expressions. She tells the story more in the ring. Like Becky has this ego trip because no one had been able to pin her. If she wasn't pregnant, she would have still been champion probably. But so like Liv Morgan in day one, she had already beat Liv Morgan once, and Liv Morgan went home, did her homework. They had that rematch. Becky thought she was going to have it easy, and Becky was panicking, like literally, I should have been done by now, And I seen that with Bianca last night too. Like, look. So little things like that go a long way. And I think Becky, if that's something Becky, like I said, Becky really improved on that. That's, she's one of those, it's cool to be a heel, but she has them heel tendencies like, no, this should have, like frustrated. So both of them did amazing. Yeah. It was my favorite match of the night.
They were awesome, but I'm sure we all figured they would be. Judging by the outcome, it makes me wonder, why'd they take the belt off Bianca to begin with? It seems like this company often goes 600 miles around, like A to B's here, but they go 600 miles around to get from A to B. Like there's to them it's storytelling, and we're making a point here, pal, that we're gonna make her look good. Did she look better at Mania than she did last year at Mania? I don't know. I don't know if she looked better. She looked great last year. She looked great this year. Why did you mess with it? Like, I don't know. But it's almost like, let's give her a win back. Cool. Let's see how long she keeps it. If in May she's dropping it in 3 seconds or whatever, and be like, come on, man. So we'll see.
I don't think we've seen the last of this confrontation either. Becky,
Well, I
Becky
hope
never
we
can.
have. I hope we have. To tell you the truth, I mean, I like the way it ended up, and to me, I mean, going to Tom's point, I don't think they should have took it off Bianca in the first place.
Right.
But and then you had Becky, who after Becky had won it, and she came back. She just came, like Sarah was talking about. She just came back from after she had a baby, and excuse me, and she, she's really she's lost weight. She's really skinny. She's been gaining that weight back. She's looking better, like what Sarah was talking about. She's looking better in her facial expressions and everything like that. But to Friday night, man, I think Becky, she really laid down the reason that she should have the title. She went out there. She put on an outstanding performance. I was very surprised at the performance that, she was like at the top of her game. She was back at the point where she's at the top of her game again. But Bianca, man, she had to take it up to another level to actually overcome Becky. So I think that it ended up great, and I think the feud should, it should end right here. But they probably, like, a little bit down the road, yeah, they probably will be meeting up again, Scott. But man, I think this right here should end it, and I think Becky should, take another direction of where she wants to go as far as in the company. But yeah, it was an outstanding match. It was a very good match, and it definitely has a chance to be maybe the best match of WrestleMania. When it boils down to it, and I look at my notes, I might say it wasn't, but it was one of the top three. Just put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Great night, great match.
I entirely agree. Now I have a couple of comments to add in, and then I'll give you my side of this, which I think you may enjoy or you may hate it. It is what it is. But I've had something rolling around in my brain since this match was announced, and I'm like, I wonder if that's the direction it's going. Mr. Childers talking about Heath is saying I think he's a promoter as well, so that may be true. Timothy Godfrey spoke in and said they took the belt off of Becky, technically never lost it, but in my mind, it was stupid. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
Bill Hazelwood chimed in. They took it off of her to do a start of long-term storyline.
Shock value.
That may very well be. Now, I want to ask you all one thing. Bianca Belair has now won the title at 2 WrestleManias in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Against Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch. There were 4 horsewomen you see where I'm going with this. Call me crazy, call me stupid, but don't call me a liar if it happens that next year she beats Bayley. Then the following year she beats Charlotte.
Charlotte, right.
Because I am sorry, but if that's the direction we're going, that puts that young woman on a pedestal above and beyond almost anybody else in this entire industry.
Mm-hmm.
And you're talking about, 6 years on the main roster? And that is her credentials? Please find me a name that's done something to that caliber on Mania, because you can't. If that's what they do with her, I will be surprised and impressed beyond just, she has the athletic ability. 100% agree. This was one of the best matches of the night. And one of my top.
Here's, not to interrupt you, but here's something to think about. She beats all 4 of them and then all 4 of them come out together at a promo at a Survivor Series. It says, "Okay, Misty, pick your 3 best. If you think you're that good that you beat all of us, pick your 3 best, and let's do a Survivor Series match."
Well, yet again, you could go millions of miles with this storyline.
Right. I mean,
It's
there's
got-
tons of directions, but
It's got traction. It's
I
got
like-
tread. It's got traction. It's got everything you could ever want. But here's the caveat to it. I will never tell you that I don't like her athletic ability. When she was in NXT, I could not stand her gimmick. I couldn't. I hated it then. And I
Girl,
publicly yes. No. I got
I'm being funny.
massacred. I got massacred publicly for I was called racist among a lot of other things, which I am not.
that, but
I may be an asshole. Okay. And that's as far as I'm going with that sentiment. That statement is I may be that, but I am not freaking racist. I hate everybody and everything equally. Thank you. So that's me. But the reality of it is I didn't like her shtick. I couldn't stand it. Her promos were the weakest part of her as champion. 100%. That was her weakest link, was promo. If she goes right back into the same stick promo she did over and over and over again, you can hang up this title reign in my book as well, because the promos didn't do her any good after week 3. After her third week as champion.
Talking about the EST of NXT promos?
No, I'm talking about when she became a champion the first time after beating Sasha. Her promos after the third week were identical. They never changed.
Okay.
And that's what killed her for me. And that's what killed her for a lot of fans.
But a lot of
So-
that's not her; it's the company handing her what
Yeah.
to say. To be fair, so if anybody's to blame, it's likely them and not her, because they're handed a script, and they recite it or they paraphrase it or they. I mean, I don't think it's even talking points anymore. I think these guys are so overly produced; they're handed. With again, I mentioned Orton earlier. Unless your name is Orton, unless your name is Roman, unless your name's Cena, Drew, they're probably just being Owens. They're probably just being, hey, read all this, memorize it, go out there and say it.
It even seems
It's
what
possible.
Tom's saying. Excuse me, Ron, but yeah, what Tom's saying, it did. It seemed like everything that she got, and it kept going on and on. It seemed like the same script over and over. Unless you're a person who can improvise, if you're a drama person and you can improvise and make that promo different by saying the same thing, because some people can do it with your movement and the way that you act. But I think she was acting her normal way and actually saying what they wanted her to say. So, man,
And so just to add it in there, we did get our answer. Heath Mulligan is not a promoter. He is a podcaster, like Scott said, and a commentator.
Okay.
Now, Mr. Mulligan, we will have to talk in future times, because maybe you want to join the round table at some point and
Hey,
jump in on one of these conversations.
Put that up. Let him advertise his stuff there, man.
That's
Yeah,
it,
man.
man. Dropkick.com. Let me
Double
tell you,
Dropkick.
he's been running
Yeah.
longer than I have. Probably all of us together. Great podcast. He
How
does
long?
it the podcast way. Nothing video. It's mostly audio. But it is a great podcast. I wish go on there and listen, man. He does he knows all about the indies in North Carolina, South Carolina, way better than I even do. And it's a great show to watch, man.
Cool. I'll have to
check it out.
check him out.
I didn't even know he did that. I mean, I know him. I know of him as a commentator and all that, but I didn't know he did that. So I was gonna comment on that. It's about him commentating, but yeah, I didn't know he podcast. But that's something I didn't know he never did say anything about it.
He commentates a lot of the HWA stuff for custom SOS Custom Network. There you go.
Yeah.
And others.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Jamel commented in, would not be mad at that. Hey, Heath, man, no problem. That's what this is. That's what Harry, Scott, and Tina and Sarah and Tom and I, everybody, that's all we've ever done. We've always, once we've met each other via person, whatever, this is all we do. We just like to have fun and have conversation amongst ourselves with the fans that are in attendance, and
Oh, yeah.
tonight a fan includes a fellow caster, so that's cool.
Can I take it home on the Bianca and Becky
Yeah,
match,
please.
if I may? I just wanted to address the idea and of this being long-term storytelling. I have no problem with long-term storytelling. I don't care anything about hot shot booking. I don't care about let's book 7 days out. I'm an old NWA guy as myself. I love long-term booking. I have no issue with that at all. My point of the whole Becky Bianca thing was you made such a big deal about Bianca and Sasha Banks being 2 African-American women main eventing WrestleMania. What a special night it was. And then just like that, bam, gone. Just like that, take it away from her. And it felt to me personally, yeah, you're done. Let's just put your, she got her win back. It's all good. But again, I say, did we have to do it? I don't know. It's kind of the Kofi thing. Dude took the title to Africa, physically took the title to Africa to kids who will probably never see it again. And just like that, you stepped all over him. And no disrespect to Brock or anybody else, but the aesthetic of it is, it doesn't matter. And I'm like, yeah, but you made us care and we cared for them and we cried for Kofi. It was emotional. And
I did.
You cried for Bianca and it's awesome. Forget about it. Again, I have no problem with long-term booking. Please don't anyone think, oh, Tom, blah, blah, blah. That's not it at all. Okay. But my thing is how they get there sometimes it's a head scratcher for me personally. So.
Right. I agree. And that's a hell of a way to segue into our very next match, which I mean, I can already see the smiles and the twinkles starting to come to everybody's eyes as the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes defeated Seth freaking Rollins.
Can I just say this? Why did Seth have to wear lace on his gear? Why?
Because he's Seth and he can.
Did y'all see my picture? Did y'all see my picture I made? I wore it better. Him versus Jimmy King from.
Oh God,
that was so great.
I wasn't like. I'm sorry. I was gonna say this right quick, but yeah, that was like if I had a complaint about this match, I saw that. I was talking to a friend of mine. She was with me, and I was like, we were talking about something. I went, wait a minute, Sherry, he's wearing lace. Why is he wearing what? But yeah, this match was right up there too. His match of the night. Go ahead. I am so sorry. I just had to.
I'm gonna make everybody upset because I'm gonna disagree with that. I hated Cody Rhodes coming up last night. I thought it was a travesty, and this is why. Hear me out. Hear me out. They had an open spot for a ton of wrestlers out there that deserve that spot. Yeah. Why Cody? Why Cody?
But
they could have had anybody there. Vince McMahon made this match. He could have made it a special. I mean, he could have brought back anybody why Cody? Was that just a kick in the butt to AEW? Because to me, I don't care about that. I really don't.
I'm not going to tell you you're wrong for feeling that way. I totally get it. But if you keep it,
I wasn't impressed with the match. I really wasn't impressed with the match. I wasn't.
I mean,
if he would have came out, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
no.
If he came out and took out Seth Rollins in like 15 seconds, do the Ultimate Warrior thing. If he would have came out, bam, 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 hit Seth Rollins, knocked him out, rolled him up, bang, 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 sat there and celebrated and walked out, I would probably have a different opinion. But I don't. Seth Rollins, come on, man. There were so many other people that deserved that opportunity over Cody Rhodes. I'm sorry. That's just the way I feel. And I'm saying it with a smile on my face. I'm pretty sure you guys are going to disagree. I want to hear it.
I'm not going to tell you you're wrong for feeling that way, as I said. But however, you have to keep this in the proper framework of the company you're talking about. They have a locker room full of people they're not pushing. Vince put himself in the ring. Pat McAfee, he put Pat in the ring. Logan Paul in the ring. There's a lot. They're all riding the pine, baby, like in the NBA. They don't get minutes. They don't get on TV. They barely ever get on YouTube. I mean, if you keep it in that framework, I can't get mad at them anymore for that, because they don't. They're not in the business of creating stars, and they say they are. That's not true. That's not true. I don't think that's the prime directive. I don't think it has been in a while, because their version of creating stars is nothing at all that we would think it is, right? So, and plus, if Cody had come out and destroyed Seth in 2 seconds, that would have created an uproar of a different kind of people who would hate him today and hate the company and hate everybody, because this is all subjective. Scott, you're free to hate it. We're free to love it. It's all good.
Right.
I want to bring up an interesting point in this match, especially because Cody hasn't been in WWE 6 years. Now, in those 6 years, he has done monumental things. But I want to bring this up. Corey Graves did an excellent job telling the story. Because it was a shocking moment. Up until the point, everybody's like, who could it be? It could be Shane McMahon, or, I was joking it was going to be Veer Mahan just because, but, Corey Graves brought up various points to kind of help you see, hey, there is a connection to this match. Dusty Rhodes' son, Seth was the first NXT champion. That was Dusty Rhodes', baby at the time, and he had a lot of influence on Seth. So little things like that really made this match a lot better for me. And, I don't discount anything from Seth or Cody. I think both of them did an excellent job. And now that we know why Cody is back in WWE, I can't hate him for it. Most wrestlers that come into business want to be world champion at some point. You can't fault the guy for it. I mean, who's to say, wrestling's a strange thing. We've seen stranger. We're going to continue to see stuff like this. So I was okay with it. And I think in that moment, the lights went dark, the pyro went off, and as soon as Cody's voice hit the speakers, the pop that he got, that solidified the whole mantra Cody goes by: undesirable to undeniable. That's a state of mind for Cody. I mean, he's living it.
Well, it was great. It was great. I mean, I didn't want Cody to come back to WWE. I really didn't. Mm-hmm. But I mean, he came back. I mean, the match was on. I mean, Seth, had he played it really good. With a shocked look. And I mean, a lot of fans, some fans were shocked, some people wasn't, because it was put out there that Seth was going to end up wrestling Cody. I had already seen some people put that out there, but I didn't think Cody was going back, that Seth was going to be against Cody. And man, Cody, I mean, Cody was very effective in this match, man. He took to the air. I mean, it was an outstanding match. I was very shocked, and it was so good. I didn't pay attention to what he was wearing. I mean, as far as what he was wearing in the match and all that. That the match.
It just hit me. It just
how
did.
How good the match was, man. It really, I really didn't pay no attention to it. I was happy for Cody, happy for Seth too, because I mean they really took it. They really took it to another level. And as far as Cody Rhodes, as far as him pursuing and trying to get the top, trying to go to the top in the top company, man, I have no problem with that. I mean, he has a serious legacy to live up to when he's trying, you're trying to live up to the legacy of the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. That's a serious legacy. So, I mean, as far as him going back there, man, I can't hate on that. And, I mean, more power to him, man. Go for it. I mean, definitely.
Now, I'm going to address it like this. Scott, I understand what you said, and I understand why you feel the way you feel. You and I've spent hours talking wrestling, so I mean, like I get it. But at the same time, in my estimation, there was nobody else out there, free agent, on the current roster, or anywhere else on this planet, in my opinion, that could have got the pop and reaction that Cody Rhodes did. Cody Rhodes got the loudest pop until glass shattered. Until
Yeah.
glass shattered.
Wait a minute, I'm gonna make you eat those words, brother. I'm gonna make you eat those words you just said. You're gonna tell me that if you smell what the Rock is cooking, hit that PA system, that would get a bigger pop than Cody? Are you kidding me?
But he's talking about like right there on the roster. That's what he means.
Yeah.
Rock's not on the roster.
Logically. Logically. And
Yeah.
something that makes sense. Something that makes sense.
But here's another question, because I heard some of y'all say this. Okay, Cody had a big promo afterwards where they asked him, why'd you come back? What happened? Of course you're going to come back to WWE. It's the #1 wrestling show on the planet. And of course, you're going to always have your daddy's name that you got to live up to. Randy Orton does, but he doesn't talk about it every time he gets behind a mic. Randy Orton's got 2 generations he's got to live up to, but you don't hear him talking about it every time he gets behind a mic. I mean, okay, we get it. You're Cody Rhodes. Your daddy was famous. Your brother's famous. I love him to death. But where else are you going to go? And here's my second thought to put in your heads. They're going to automatically put Cody Rhodes up there for that title. They're going to. WWE is going to put him up there for that Universal title right away. And we were just talking 5 minutes ago about Drew McIntyre deserves that spot. He's going to take spots away from people who have been here in WWE, working their butts off to get there. And because it's Cody Rhodes and he was at AEW, and they're going to throw punches and they're going to do that, they're going to take spots away with Cody Rhodes. You agree or disagree?
I disagree, because Randy, let's go back to Randy. They didn't have Randy go through stupid stuff. I mean, he's done stupid stuff, but not like face paint Stardust, things like that. And then, I think if Cody's going to win the Universal title or championship, whatever they're calling it now, I think they're going to do it at WrestleMania. So up until that point, you got to have somebody else for it. I don't think it's going to be done right away. I think if Cody is to win the Undisputed Championship or whatever, I think it would be for WrestleMania. And it might not even be next year, because there's talk that it could be Roman and The Rock. So you got to think about that too. And until that's confirmed, obviously we don't know. And this is WWE. They might do that, and they might wait too. I don't know, but yeah, Cody was the one that asked for his release the first time. And nobody in their right mind knew what Cody Rhodes could do outside of WWE. And he really did change the game. And now that he's back and he says, I want to do this. Hopefully it ain't going to happen overnight. It shouldn't happen overnight, because if you want Cody to do what his dad and his brother couldn't do, you got to play it out. You can't just boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
You got to make him work for it. It could be something like Cody could get screwed at Survivor Series or something like that. Maybe he is in a triple threat with Drew McIntyre or something at SummerSlam, or Money in the Bank, something. He could get screwed over and over.
How many times have all of us being couch bookers thought, man, this is the way we do it, and the next pay-per-view, there's the guy going for the title. Because
let's hope that don't happen. Sorry, Ron. But
we hope that don't happen. But
I mean, long-term projection booking, Roman and Rock in Hollywood doesn't need the title.
Yeah.
Long-term projection booking says to me, Drew McIntyre takes the title from Roman, and Drew McIntyre loses the title. Drew McIntyre as a face loses the title to Kevin Owens, who then turns around and loses the title. Ring of Honor. Think Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor. Kevin Owens. Ring of Honor. Cody Rhodes. Ring of Honor. Cody Rhodes takes it off of KO next year's Mania. Cody Rhodes wins the Royal Rumble.
The thing is, too, That's why I was thinking him and Cody and Roman.
It was supposed to
There's
be-
more than one. Wrestling has more than one royal family.
Yeah.
I like that too. I really like that too.
Pay me.
Except
Pay me.
the problem with that is the problem with that becomes the Anoa'i family is the number one wrestling family dynasty of eternity.
Right.
I
don't want
can't
all
argue
the
that.
messages after I get off this show. So let me make this perfectly clear. I love Cody Rhodes. I love his wrestling. I love his gimmick. I just didn't think, me personally, I didn't think that was the time. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
Okay.
Okay.
So
I see
catching
like
up
a
on
4
comments
month-
and we're gonna move forward.
Yeah, but let me go and finish this real quick. But I see like maybe in 4 months, I mean, as far as Cody ascending like maybe in the top 5, and then probably, but I see like 2 years, man, before maybe he's gonna get a shot before that, but probably in a couple years, him winning the thing and taking it even farther. But I mean, to me, Cody Rhodes is like Bianca Belair. He's getting better and better. He hasn't reached his peak yet. He hasn't reached he hasn't got to the best that he can get. So I mean, he's getting better. So I mean, it's some wrestlers. I think somebody like Drew McIntyre, I think he's gone as far as he can go. I mean, Drew now, I like what Drew did the other night. He went to the air. I mean, Drew, he don't usually do that. He took to the air, man. So he's trying to do a little something extra. But man, I mean, as far as this Cody Rhodes thing, I mean, I'm still at the point where I wish he wouldn't have went there, but he's there, and I hope the best for him, man.
And the last thing I'll say about it is, I did pop when he did his daddy's move. I did pop when he rolled.
Oh yeah,
Yes,
that was good.
that was great. That was great. Now, this comment goes in lieu with Seth Rollins' gear. It was supposed to be Becky's gear.
Yeah, right in her closet.
Yep. Even Steve Austin said that Cody had the match he needed to have with Seth. It was one of the best matches.
It was great
of the weekend. It was a
outstanding.
great match. Only free agent that they could bring back. There's no one on the current roster who had a bigger impact in that spot. That's what I said. Heath, I agree with that entirely. The only other free agent I could think of that would have been awesome would have been Cesaro, but it would have made no sense whatsoever.
Right.
That's true.
He would have got a good pop, but it wouldn't have been nothing like that. But
Have to look at Cody's success. He's a smart wrestler and told a great story. I agree. Shane Dorr, Palmetto Championship Wrestling's owner, I think. Yeah, one of them. We'll go with that. He said that was always the plan. Wrestling is like the mafia. Once you get in, it's hard to get out. You know. Hey, look, Tim, I'm gonna step on some toes with this one, but apparently that even applies to the illegal and immoral garbage that goes down too. So my favorite part of the match was the cartwheel Stardust sign. That was hilarious. I died laughing. I loved it. Misty Childers says, "Where's your love for Dusty?" Man, everybody loves the son of a plumber, man.
I love Dusty. Now, I'll never say anything bad about Dusty.
And he signed a multi-year deal.
Yeah.
Let's make it last. I agree entirely.
And I was about to say something when Scott was saying something about, I think Dusty, when he's talking about the Ortons. I mean, as far as Orton Jr., I'm not, I love Bob Orton Jr. and his dad. Like, I saw his son's whole career, but there are no Dusty Rhodes. So I mean, there are no Dusty Rhodes. That's all it is.
Great workers, but abysmal on the mic, and so was Randy up until the last couple years.
That's true.
Shoot me, okay? Shoot me. Moving on now, we got Charlotte Flair defeated Ronda Rousey. I can't believe that this match was not good. I tried to enjoy it more than what it was worth.
I can believe this match wasn't good. Sorry.
I was impressed with what Ronda was able to do, but it seemed like Charlotte didn't want to give her any. If you see what I'm saying. Charlotte's stingy. Now, obviously, Charlotte's trying to protect her own and protect the craft, and I can respect that. But at the same time, put him in an octagon, and Charlotte comes out in Barbie pieces.
Oh,
Okay?
no doubt.
And that's all there is to it.
Well, I have to give her. You have to give her credit for one thing. I don't think anybody other than Ronda has ever gotten out of the figure eight. So
No.
she gave her that.
They mentioned that too on commentary.
They gave her that.
I was really surprised at how technical this match was.
I'm with you.
There was a lot of reversals and holds and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't care for either Charlotte or Ronda, but I actually like this match, and I think that was why, because they were trying to outmaneuver each other, getting out of holds and stuff. Because Ronda came from UFC. They did stuff like that too. So for what it was worth, I enjoyed it, but do I care for it? No, not really. I was surprised Charlotte won. That was about it.
I was too.
Yeah, I thought Ronda was going to win the match. I mean, it's I thought it was okay. I thought it was okay. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. It wasn't great. It wasn't. It wasn't at the level.
Give it a star rating, man. You know you want to give it a star rating.
No, I'm not gonna give it a star rating. I mean, I'll give it a star rating, but that's gonna come on the Straight Up Wrestling Show a little bit later. So I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it on this round table. But I gave it a star rating. It's not bad. It's not bad. I didn't give it a bad rating, man. It actually, I went with the technical, the scientific aspect of the match, like what Sarah enjoyed. I enjoyed that part of it. I really did. So, I mean, watching them, do all those maneuvers on, the grappling, I enjoyed the grappling style. I mean, but, and then they did come up and they did do some forearms and forearm shots. And of course, Charlotte, she did her patented long leg kicks and all that. So, I mean, it actually has some good spots in the match. I mean, but you really had to overlook some of the things that was going on to where you're saying, okay, this is a bad match. I mean, my wife had came in on the match while it was going on. She was like, yeah, she can beat Ronda Rousey or whatever. But yeah, it's just crazy, man. Let's see. Garbage match, and Charlotte ruined this match. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. See, that's the thing about it. It's just people are gonna go into it like that because it wasn't a traditional match. And Ronda Rousey, she's coming in there off of an MMA background and all that. It's people gonna look at it like that. That's just the way it is. So I mean, you had to really overlook some things and say why is she doing this? And is she 100% sold out? And I don't think she's 100% sold out to wrestling. Well, I know she's not 100% sold out to wrestling. I think what's on her mind is still that defeat in MMA when she lost to Holly Holm, and then she turned around and lost again to Amanda Nunes. And I think she wants to get back she wants to get back into that business, and she's bringing into wrestling what she lacked in MMA, and that was the boxing technique. Because if you see what she's doing in wrestling now, she goes in and she always using boxing, always boxing. So her mind is on that instead of more on wrestling. But overall, when it boils down to it, her judo and everything that she really got into the match, it added to the match. But of course, it wasn't going to be Charlotte against Bianca or Charlotte against Becky or Charlotte against Naomi or something like that. It just wasn't that. And if we was looking for that, we was going to be disappointed before the match even started. So it wasn't a thing, wasn't a thing to look for. So I took the match for what it was. It was Charlotte against Ronda Rousey. And so we was wondering what she was going to do. We knew what kind of background she had, and we knew that was going to be part of the play in this match.
I think Ronda and Becky was the bigger match. I'm sure they're probably circling back to that, but for me, that's what I booked. But I question whether Ronda still actually gets how this stuff works. Her accountant would disagree with me, but I'd question if she gets this. We saw how she acted during her first promo back, where she's acting all heel. And then someone got in her ear supposedly after that and said, they love you. It's okay to be nice to them. And I'm like, how do you not, but I think that she takes this stuff on the chin. I think she takes it personally, and they can make out like they don't. They can make out all day. They read their own press. They all do. Now, some of them, I'd say most of them probably don't care. Somebody like her, in my opinion, wears it on her sleeve. I think she cares. So I don't know how much of this she still gets and how much of it she's confusing. And the MMA stuff, yeah, she could legit hurt anybody. But the minute she hurts somebody, she doesn't get street cred for that. She doesn't get points. No one pats her on the back. The other girls look at her and say, I'm not working her. She hurt
Yeah.
somebody. So
Oh,
it's
yeah.
it's not the same thing. It's more of a check in her book if she doesn't hurt somebody, but still makes it look good. So like I think she's doing that, but this match was kind of there for me. They both worked hard, but I just didn't feel it.
I didn't feel it either. Tom, I'm gonna stick with you on that one. As far as the star ratings, yeah, no, I don't do those, so that's
I
cool.
was just playing with because he does.
I know, and that's cool. Harry, feel free on, yeah, but nah, I don't deal with the star ratings. Not my bag, buddy. But overall, I look at it like this: Ronda Rousey is a talented individual, and I don't discredit her at all. Olympian, judo black belt, MMA prize fighter, and a huge draw for the UFC. She's even been a draw for the WWE. My only thought here, one of you mentioned, I think it was Tom mentioned, she doesn't get points for hurting people. Now, she was trained to legit kill you. Whereas somebody, let's poke a bear here. Let's say Nia Jax was actually trained to work. She hurt more people than Ronda ever has.
She was trained to work. She just couldn't work.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. Right. At least Ronda hasn't legit hurt people that bad.
True.
I just have one question when it comes to Ronda. When are we gonna get Ronda versus Shayna in a cage match?
No.
Just
Book it.
God.
Never.
the WWE version of the Octagon. Let's do it. Let's just get it out there.
Never.
There is a way to make that work. There's a way to make that work.
Not in that company. They're not going to mimic UFC, who's they consider competition, supposedly. And Shayna gets, hey, Shayna, here's Shayna. Nah, I say you put you back down here. Because that's what they do. She's legit tough and hardcore. They're like, hey, you can do
Shayna's a great wrestler, too.
Yeah.
Both in there and give them 20 minutes to do the locks, the arm bars, the stuff they did it, let them go.
Man.
20's a long time for that stuff, though. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
20's a long time.
Dump truck in the house.
What's going
Truck
on?
gang, my brother. Truck gang is here. That match was crap. Should have been a lot better. Not wrong. I disagree 100% with this. I'm going to go ahead and tell y'all my prediction right now. We're going to get a title change on television, and not a premium live event, but we're going to get it on like SmackDown. We're going to get a title change on SmackDown for Ronda Rousey. Just a gimme moment, because you don't see that many title changes on regular TV when it comes to the higher tier titles, right? Right.
Mm-hmm.
So we get it on SmackDown for Ronda. That's a big deal. Fox Sports, UFC, yada yada.
Promote the hell out of it and get people to tune in. Ronda wins the title. And media blows up.
Wouldn't it be a shame, Sarah, if they did that for NXT like they did last night on Monday Night Raw? They put the belt back on Braun on Monday Night Raw for a reason, because people weren't watching NXT. Now they got to see how explosive and talented this kid is. Oh, and maybe it's not Nickelodeon XT now. Maybe it's fast paced. It's like everything else out there. It looks like Ring of Honor or AEW. It looks the same. It's all the same shtick with a higher production value. That's it. It all looks the same to me. But that's the thing. It's fun. And hell, we're going against it right now, and that's fine. We're still doing pretty well considering. So I don't think it's a one and done. Bring back the Fiend. I don't think that's going to happen. Their hearts weren't in the match. I agree with that. Good God, the comments stacked up on me. Charlotte could have made that match look a lot better. Definitely could have.
Wow.
Not wrong there. This wasn't the only. Wasn't this the only non-clean finish the whole weekend? I think it was. I don't think there was another dirty finish in the entire show, and it was only Charlotte Flair. Notice that. Flair dirty finish.
Dirtiest
Flair.
player in the game.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah, I think that's what's up. James Roberts says, "What's up, boss? Indie wrestling is better. Fight me, bro." Okay, I'm good. We're all good. Indie wrestling is better. It depends on where we're at. And fight me. No, I'm not medically cleared. Leave me be. I'm not medically cleared. Lasnos called Lazarus.
All right.
Glass breaks because night one's main event was Austin defeating Kevin Owens. 19 years, ladies and gentlemen. 19 years since Stone Cold suffered defeat at the hands of The Rock. And in Dallas, Texas, he gets his ones back. I loved every last bit of this. The bumps he took, the bumps he delivered. 30 some odd beers. I want American lager. I already wanted one anyway, but I'm not an IPA guy, so I want to try the new American lager beer. So there's that. I will say that. I got to find it. It was the oldest person to ever main event a WrestleMania, and it was badass. There's no I can't go any other direction with that. It was fun. I was 13 again. Sitting on the floor with my knees, tucked under me.
I enjoyed it. I just wish it would have been a regular match and not started off with the KO show. That's the only problem I had with it. If it would have been a regular match, I would have loved it. 100% would have been all in. It was great. Don't get me wrong. When the glass broke, I was jumping up and down in my chair. I'm not going to lie to nobody. I remember the days of him driving the Zamboni down there, driving the truck. It all came back. I was there, but I just couldn't get my head around. They had to come out, sit down, and the only thing I could think of in my head was he made the comment, "I started in Dallas. I'm gonna finish it in Dallas," and now I think that was the only reason why they did that, was so he could make that point. You know what I mean? Everybody knew that this is where he started, and he wanted to end it here in his very last match. But I just didn't see any other reason to start it off with the KO show. The match was stupendous, and everything that happened after it, I popped. I mean, even as badly as Vince McMahon took the stunner and all that, I still popped.
That was the next day. That doesn't count yet.
Okay,
Wouldn't count yet. That doesn't count yet.
It was all a blur, but it was good. It was good.
I'm laughing because it's Scott, what you're saying about starting off the KO show. I didn't want that to be part of it at all. I mean, the whole time I'm like, oh my gosh, man, I'd rather for it just to be a regular match. But the KO show, man, I liked it. I liked it. When it boiled down to it, I liked it. I gave it. I'm gonna go ahead and say this, Ron. I gave that 5 stars, man. Just put it that way. The KO match was.
I knew I did it out of
awesome. The way they started it off and the way they ended it. When Steve Austin was telling him he was ready to open up a can on him, and the way Kevin Owens, he backed up his chair like, come on, he did not. I thought he would be like, shocked, looking all scared or whatever. But like he moved over and said, come on, let's do it. And man, it went into it. So I thought it was perfect the way the thing started off and the way it ended up, the way the show ended up and the questions and the way the back and forth they was going. I thought that was excellent, man. I thought they did a real good job there. So I have no problem with that KO show and then it leading into the match. I like the KO show a little bit better than the match, but I like the match a little bit better because the way they ended it up. But as far as the starting off match, and you could tell that Steve Austin was a little bit rusty. His knees is getting a little bit back in shape because, man, those kicks at first, I was like, oh, my gosh, man.
Yeah,
not looking too good with that, with his knees and all that. But it started getting better and better as the match rolled on. But overall, man, it was just great. It was great all the way through, from the show on through the match.
Can I say what a moment this was for KO?
Oh, yes.
It's known that Austin was one of his favorites growing up and stuff. for KO to have that main event spot and share it with someone like Stone Cold Steve Austin, that's big. And I think that did a lot more for KO than probably people were thinking. But I'm like you, Harry. I think I like the way it started off. Of course, we knew Austin was gonna beat his ass or whatever, but
Oh yeah.
Stone Cold is just, it's like, dude, never change. Because I mean, everything he does, the fans want more, and he just, he always delivers. And yeah, you got to think Stone Cold's what, in his late 50s, early 60s now. So you
57
kind of,
years old.
Yeah.
57. Okay. And so you kind of have to cut him a little bit of slack. But overall, I enjoyed it. I was kind of like with the concrete bumps and stuff, but I thought it was well done. It was a brawl, and of course, KO is always down for stuff like that, and Stone Cold was known for being a brawler. So I thought this was very well done. And this is a moment. I think everybody won because the fans got their nostalgia. Stone Cold, KO is in that WrestleMania main event spot, and he did very well on the microphone and in his ring work too. So, overall everybody won, and it was good. So I was very, very happy for KO, for sure.
Yeah.
We'll
Oh, yeah.
see how big the bag of tricks is, because I think Austin was the last, bunny to pull out of the bag at this point. I don't know who's left that they could pull out and dust off, no disrespect. But I mean, who's left? Again, to Scott's point way earlier, they don't make new stars. And I love Austin as much as the next guy, but I mean, we're not making new stars here, kids. We're just bringing back the greatest hits, and that's fine. That's what they want to do. Go with God, brother. But at the same time, I'm like, Austin had to come from somewhere. The Rock had to come from somewhere. Owens came from somewhere. Why are we not working on the future? Because to them, they'll worry about that later. They want the payoff right now. To them, it's let's make the fans have to stop. Don't preach to me anymore about you're making the stop. Come on. How many opportunities have you had over the years where we're all going, hi, we want this. And they're like, no, you don't. We're going to do this.
Yeah.
Come on. You know what I mean? So like, again, I question, and I'm not going to disagree with anybody. The match was, I think Sting's ruined it for everybody, because the veterans are going, Sting's killing it. I think I could do this again.
Yeah.
But like, I won't disagree with anybody. Everybody's right. In my opinion, everybody's right. It was really, really fun to watch, but I just wonder how big's that bag and who's left in that bag. I don't know.
Not as a counter to what you just said, not as a counter at all to that. It's a sidebar on that. Whereas all the good that Sting has done, Goldberg has crapped the bed repetitively over the last few years.
But that's
Exactly.
apples and oranges, though.
No, well, hold on. You were mentioning dusting off relics and bringing the past back to life. So what I was saying was, for all, man, look, Sting's doing it up here. Sting's at this level still. Who else could be at that level? The only person who's even come close in the last couple of years is now Austin. No other real legend has performed that well in a return in the last couple of years at minimum. The Rock's last match with Cena or the Wyatts or whatever it was, his last match with Cena was okay, but the Rock Cena 1 was better than the Rock Cena 2.
It really was.
Yeah.
That's common knowledge. So I mean, I'm with you. Who else you going to dust off? Sting's ruined it for a lot of people, because now they're all looking at the veterans. But every time you look at the veterans, you're looking at Goldberg thinking, no, please, no. So it's kind of like it's a double-edged sword. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
I get it, but as we always remind people, this is subjective. Yeah, everybody can bag on Bill, but there's just me people that freaking love Bill and want to see him back again. And
I love him, but I'm done.
I get it.
I'm done.
But a lot of people aren't, and I'll bet that company's not done either. That's my point from earlier, is that They keep going back to the well, and that well is going to run dry at some point. They got Austin off his tractor, off that ranch after 19 years. Cena couldn't get him off the tractor. Punk, Lesnar, who else? Who else am I missing? Nah, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I'll do this. What? Like 19 years? You want what? Like I just it blows my mind.
I just want to know how long it took Stone Cold to talk Vince McMahon into letting him bring his 4-wheeler down to the ring and take a couple laps. I just want to know how long that took.
He didn't have to talk him into that. That was
nothing. That was probably done by design, and he gets to take the 4-wheeler home.
Yeah,
That was probably a bonus present right there. I'm gonna disagree with one thing that was said earlier, and that was about the KO spot, the KO show thing. I think that was your necessary gateway to get us there. Yes, of course, in the past, 20 years ago, where we all know Austin from, of course, you call him out, he's going to come out there and stomp you. That's Austin. In today's market, it makes no sense for him to come out there to just kick your teeth in. You have to have a reason. So therefore, the guest on the show appearance logistically made sense and logically made sense.
Mm-hmm.
It was the vessel that carried us across the river to deliver us to the match. In my estimation, that's how it was done. They had to use some way to get him there besides, it's going to be a thing. Because none of us knew whether or not it would actually be a full match or not. There was rumblings. I figured we were going to get a KO show, a stunner party, and a beer bath, and we were going home.
Yeah,
I didn't expect that to go that long, but it was awesome and it was worth it. Another person chimed in as we're moving into night 2. Reno Royce, the Rolls Royce of professional wrestling, chimed in and said, "Gentlemen and lady."
What's going on, Brino?
Man, I love that kid. Y'all want to talk about a talented independent wrestler? Keep your eyes on the prize.
All right.
Believe me. Oh, you already know. Your brother already knows. This is no lie. He's part of World Elite.
Okay.
This match a topic. I want to say that I agree with Tom wholeheartedly because the stars that were made back during the day, to me, was they're going to be talked about for years to come. How many people here can remember and sit down and go, okay, this was the greatest in the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years? How many matches can you sit down and go, man, that was a match where I was sitting right here, this here, this, that here. This wrestler is going to be.
Before.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, Scott. But before we left there, that's one thing I wanted to address what Tom was talking about. I mean, of course, they're not making stars. And that's one thing. That's one of the main things when Chris and I, man, when Chris and I and Michael King, we started this podcast, man, about 7 months ago, and I hadn't watched wrestling in years, except for in spots. In spots I had watched wrestling. I said, you can't the way they run in the business now. Everybody can't be a star, and they trying to make everybody a star, and they trying to see who will stick. It's like over in AEW or WWE, especially AEW. The way I look at it is like a high school football coach. A high school football coach is sitting there. He doesn't have a great roster. I mean, he doesn't have a great team that's being replenished every year, that they're just building up a lot of stars. He's looking for that next kid to come out of the 8th grade to come to his school. That might have been back when I was in school. It was basically a running back could change your whole program. He's looking for somebody, a great quarterback that can come up and change your whole program. And that's the way I look at wrestling today. It's like they're looking for that star to come up and see, and they try to do is try to look at everybody on the roster and try to say, these are superstars, instead of picking out somebody on the roster, picking out a few different guys and build them up as a star. But that's the way you got to do it. And you got to have long-term, you got to build somebody, give somebody the titles, and then you got to have them long-term and have people chasing those titles. So as far as over in WWE, now Roman Reigns, I think is a big time star, but he's only in this niche crowd of wrestling fans. He doesn't have the casual fans out there like the wrestlers did back in the day. The guys who was, I mean, everybody knew who a Hulk Hogan was. Just about everybody knew who.
I was about to say, you could ask you could sum all this up in who is the Hulk Hogan of today?
Yeah, that's right.
Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
No.
Roman Reigns is the Hulk Hogan of today.
Yeah, but
He is the.
We're gonna have to have a podcast about that,
yeah,
brother.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is a podcast for another day. But
Right.
I mean, Roman Reigns is huge, but outside of mostly just wrestling fans, people that are wrestling fans, how many people that you can, I mean, like say the malls was packed like they were back in the 80s, in the early 90s or whatever. How many people can you go down through the mall in a crowd of 50 people and say the name Roman Reigns? How many people will know him?
Roman is wrestling famous. He's not necessarily famous.
That's right. Exactly.
All right. Well, in that topic of conversation, there is nobody, period. But out of wrestling as it goes as a whole, you would have Sting would be recognizable.
Of course. Yeah. Of course.
We'll shut down Times Square. Sting could shut down Times Square.
He's considered one of those guys back during the Attitude Era.
Roman Reigns could shut down Times Square.
You're still
Other
talking
than that,
old guys. We're talking of today.
Yeah.
Of today, Roman Reigns could shut down Times Square.
I doubt it.
I don't know. I keep envisioning Total Request Live. Do you guys remember that from
TRL? That was my show.
Yes, right. I'm envisioning that.
Up in New York because of they're based out of there. They based out of that area.
Yeah,
yes,
New Jersey.
probably so. But
Connecticut.
Can you bring him down to Charlotte, North Carolina? Can you bring him to Greenville, South Carolina, and boom, 10,000 people gonna know who he is out of 50,000 people that's in one of these stadiums, and they're gonna know who Roman Reigns is? I don't think so. So
on a marquee sign going down I-85, I think Roman Reigns gets as much traffic as anybody else in the wrestling industry today.
Oh,
if
in the
not
wrestling industry
more.
In
today,
wrestling,
yes.
yeah. But if you're, I don't know if you're splitting hairs or not, brother. But if you are, I counter with he's wrestling famous 100%. But you put him on the Tonight Show or whatever, ladies and gentlemen, WWE superstar Roman Reigns versus, ladies and gentlemen, John Cena. Now it's different. Right, John had to get there. If Roman wants to do those things, he probably can. I don't know if the guy can act or not, but we didn't think John could, and John is freaking hysterical now. He's great.
Yeah,
so maybe he can get there.
He did fine in Hobbs and Shaw. I mean, his role in Hobbs and Shaw was minor.
He was
very minor.
So,
but either way, we've got a whole lot of content to get through, and we've already been 90 minutes.
Tomorrow's coming quick.
Yeah. I know. So Triple H officially retires. Sad to see it, but we knew it was coming after the heart condition. He's got a defibrillator in. Thank you to the game. That's all I'm going to say.
I will say really quickly, I love the way he did it. He came in, no long, rolled out speech.
Thank God.
Yeah.
And walked
in other words, he didn't Triple H it. Is that what you're saying?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
He Triple H the entrance. I mean, it was a 20-minute entrance. But when he got on the speech, he just said, "Thank you, everybody. Welcome to WrestleMania." That's all I got to say. Let's do this. Dropped the mic, put his boots down, and left. And it
was classy. It was all class how he did it. So
short, sweet, and to the point. That's what it needed to be. So
no doubt.
I was proud of him.
We all know his Hall of Fame speech is going to be great. So
and please, this is the last thing I'll say about this. Please, Vince McMahon, please, when you decide to hang up your boots and decide to quit being the COO, please pass it down to Triple H.
No chance. No chance. No chance.
I know.
Yeah.
I love you, brother. And from a wrestling fan's perspective, I am with you 100%. There is no chance they hand that company to Hunter.
I don't think so either.
The only way they'll do that is if Nick Khan has it in his agreement that he has predominant control. That's it. That is
And-
the only way it occurs.
No, let me quantify what I just said by I don't know for sure because I don't, but my gut says Triple H is a wrestling guy, and in the wrestling company that hurts him, which is like
Yep.
what? But
Well-
I think it kind of hurts him. I think the other guys who are paid a lot more money than he'll ever have are going, this guy, I don't think so. That's just me though.
Hold on.
Which is
Let me-
crazy. Sorry,
You're right.
It's the best
I'm going to
wrestling
give you.
ever
I'm going
happened.
to give you one final piece of love on this. A very smart wrestling entity that a handful of us know personally is Mr. Bill Hazelwood. Now, Bill Hazelwood referenced this on my show a while back. He said, "Did you ever see the opening few minutes of Beyond the Mat, the wrestling movie that came out in the 90s?" At the very beginning, they say, "This is the WWE. They make video games, they make T-shirts, they sell popcorn and logos and everything. And oh yeah, there's some wrestlers too." That was the entrance to the movie.
Oh yeah.
And that told you everything you ever need to know. They are an entertainment company that
Yep.
has wrestling. And
Well,
believe it
they'll
or
tell you
not,
that.
in my estimation, look at our markets down here. Independent wrestling shows are all drawing roughly the same thing, right? Allen's crew, they're going to a comic convention.
Yep.
200,000 foot traffic expected across 4 days. That's WrestleMania level coverage right there. That's thought one. Thought number two is the biggest show we've had in this area recently, PWF, 1,600 people. The Hardy Boys were there versus two other AEW guys. 1,600 people. That's it. That's an indie show, but that's a big indie show. Everybody else down here, what can you do to get on the level of your entertainment and you carry wrestling as well? Or do you just want to be just wrestling? I look at it in that light. And that's not a dig at anybody or anything.
Again, that's apples. No disrespect. That's apples and oranges as well because
Right.
they've been at this since the 1960s, and for the young kids out there, when Vince Senior broke off, they were a joke. They're like, this will never work because they left NWA, and it was like, it's just another guy that left NWA thought they were going to do something, and they had no traction. And it wasn't until Vince took over, that things started to change. But man, and even after he took over, it took a long time for things to change. I mean, but they're so deeply entrenched. They are Apple at this point. They are Disney at this point. I mean, their tentacles are in so many different things. That's a living, breathing entity as we speak.
Right.
It's going to take a bullet fire from a gun that doesn't exist to put that thing out of its misery.
People could understand, okay? The best indie promotion out there, and I'm talking just backyard, I'm not necessarily backyard, but show out there for a local area, you're looking at 2,000 average people, okay, or less. They're looking at millions of people watching them every week. So and they have to, they have investors, they have this, like he said, it's apples and oranges. It's a totally different ball game. And it goes to what he was saying, this is live. This has a life of its own. Indie promotions are just trying to get to a piece of that.
Right. They want a crumb off of that cake.
Exactly what.
But so RK Bro defeated the Alpha Academy and the Street Profits. Overall, fun match.
This is a great first match. I enjoyed it.
Another tag team title opener. That was an interesting thought that crossed my brain, was that they did that both nights. That was cool. My favorite spot of the whole match was Riddle's vertical leap up to the RKO off the top. I loved the spot. I thought it was phenomenal. That was an excellent spot. When Orton caught Gable in the RKO off the top rope, I wasn't as impressed, but it was still pretty dope. I mean, it was a fun match. I had a good time. Anybody else got something to add on that one?
Yeah, all I really got to say, man, it was a good match. And I think as far as Randy Orton, man, he seems to be so joyous right now. I mean, he seemed to be so happy with what he's doing. Maybe he's looking at this is the twilight of his career. This is the finish of it, and he's having so much fun with Riddle. I think he's really have settled in with Riddle, and I think they're having a lot of fun, man. And that's probably why they're selling so much merchandise and they're so popular. So overall, man, it came out to be a really good match. I mean, I'm not really into these three-way matches, these four-way, and I'm not into that. But I was really into this match, so it was fun. It was a fun match to watch.
Hi.
I didn't hate it.
Welcome, buddy.
I didn't hate it, but it felt like a really good TV match to me.
Oh yeah.
My favorite part of the whole match, and this is all I'm going to say, then I'll let you have the rest of the floor. My favorite part of the match is when they both did the DDT and they were about to go to that place and they ruined it. I thought that was beautiful. I love that.
Yeah.
You had the crowd going, "Oh, it's going to happen. They're both
That was
gonna
a fun spot. That was fun. Welcome to the show, the other half of the Straight Up Wrestling Show, the People's Podcaster himself, Mr. Chris Burton. How you doing, buddy?
Hi.
What's happening? What's happening, y'all? I was at work. I was
The whole
listening.
show,
To you guys.
bro, so you got to make it up in the second half.
Oh, I was listening to it, man. I was just kind of some points. I was like, dear God, it was dry. I was like literally raking the walls with my fingernails. I'm like, I want to say something so bad, but I'm at work. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go home, scarf down some food, and I'm gonna say my piece.
Man, well, that's cool. But I mean, overall, night one was better than night two. But I mean,
Yes.
we're gonna move through night two pretty quickly because there was less to it in my book. Outlaw is here. He's a local guy. Missy Children, he's having a good time. She's talking about Orton having a good time in the
Oh, yeah,
twilight
you
of his
could-
career.
You
Oh,
can
yeah.
tell he's having a good time. Him and Riddle are just, they were a tag team I didn't know I needed. I really don't like Riddle, but with him teaming with Randy and having, you know, having that chemistry, and they're so funny together. It's easily my favorite thing on Raw. Like,
yeah.
they're so funny together, but you can tell Randy's enjoying it, and he should.
Yes, he
I will
should. He
I will
deserves it.
agree. I will agree with you on that. I can't stand RVD 2.0. I can't deal with him. If I was a wrestler, I would just my finishing move. I would just step on his feet. That would be my finishing move for him. I mean, it's just that simple. But Randy is having fun. He is having fun, and as you can tell, you know, he's like, "This is my last run. I'm going to have the best experience I possibly can." So, more power to him.
Yeah. A little caveat to add to that, I look at it like this: it's also giving us more Randy, because when you're a singles competitor, you get burned out faster. As a tag team person, you got somebody to share the bumps with, and it's giving us longevity on an already impressive and incredible career that Randy Orton has had.
You can say the same for Sting too in AEW.
Oh yeah.
Oh, definitely. Now that the Outlaw is here, what are your other two wishes? Gee, you don't want me to answer that. I promise.
And I want to say this before we stop with this match. I love Alpha Academy. I really do.
Shush.
I love it. I do love it.
Thank you.
Vince McMahon came to him and probably said, "Hey, we want you to be a this or that," and he took it and made it his own. You can see that, and I love it. I just do.
Thank you. I love it.
I laugh every time he does it, man.
Tom, did you have anything on that one?
I just want to get to a Moss because I'm only here for that match.
Oh, God. We gotta.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah,
I'm going to bed after that, so let's do this.
Oh wow. Ooh.
You're
I
going
do
to
like
bed
seeing
after
another-
that one.
Hit me.
Yeah.
There it is. You're up first,
There
boss.
he is. All right,
Wait, hold up.
I'm getting
Go
ready.
ahead, man.
Just
I wanted
prepare
to say something
yourself.
about Dave Stevenson and his
Oh
is
yeah.
it Gabe Stevenson? Gabe Stevens.
Gabe Stevens. Stevenson.
Oh, Stevenson.
No,
Stevenson?
Stevenson.
Yeah,
Stevenson?
Steve Son.
Yeah,
Gabe-
Stevenson. Yeah, his interaction with Chad Gable, I thought that was pretty cool. And man, that's one I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to that. But I really wish, man, that Chad, what is his name? Gabe Stevenson. Stevenson. I wish he would hook up with the Alpha Academy. I would like to see him with the Alpha Academy, but look like he's gonna feud with them.
Too many Gables.
So that's gonna be interesting. That's gonna be interesting. Sorry about that, Tom. I'm let you go ahead and get to the.
You done ruined it for me, dude. You done ruined it for me. I was on an emotional high, and now I'm down here.
Oh man.
Well,
Man.
I popped it back up, so now you're good.
All right, I'm gonna try to get amped up again.
All right.
Omos is really tall. I don't know what else to say. I mean, I hear guys and gals analyzing. Well, if you base it now versus when he started, stop. Omos is really tall. He's probably a great guy. Could be the best guy in the world to hang out with. To me, he's just really tall. It's time to stop the bleeding. I just don't understand what we're doing. It doesn't make any sense to me. This guy, in my opinion, this guy is not a star. Now, for them, he will be. You guys talked about what if he walks into a room? You know what people are going to go? Oh, man, he's really tall. They're not going to say, that's that WWE wrestler who's the best of all time. Stop. This isn't working. In my opinion, this isn't working. But what do I know? That's just my take. So.
Sarah has her hand up.
Speaking
We're not
of
in class.
stars, speaking of star, I said this last night, but I might get some points from the guys on this one. If any video game fans, does Omos' voice remind you of Nemesis from Resident Evil 3?
I never played the game, but I've heard
Stars.
Close.
I mean, it just hit me like he was talking. I said, man, he sounded like Nemesis.
From the movie. Yeah, from the movie, yeah.
I'm gonna say something about Omos, and I am not comparing it to him, so don't say I am. But doesn't it kind of look like they're trying to push him as like the next Andre the Giant?
Oh yeah, but
they tried that before.
The Great Khali, maybe.
Hands
Chris
are
Khali,
totally.
yeah.
He's doing. It looks like they're trying to make him the next Andre the Giant.
All right, but yeah,
He's
Sarah.
not Andre.
Go ahead, but Sarah had a hand up with that 5 like that. I thought she was saying it was a 5-star match.
No.
Oh, God.
No.
Jesus. Harry, the only person who does star quality on matches is you.
Out of all of
Yeah.
He thought I was gonna steal his gimmick.
But I thought the one I was gonna flip.
Oh, hold on. We're gonna give it a rating.
Shoot. No.
You can't go
Can't
low
get-
enough.
Hey, Chris, I don't want to take away your time, brother. You just got here, but I'll finish my bit with this. We talked earlier about Drew. What are we doing with Bobby here? And then last night they did MVP's now with Omos. We get to see more Omos on TV.
Yay!
Whatever.
Oh my
Alright.
Come
God.
on, man. Come on.
Man.
It's all right. You were already going to get to see Omos anyway. You may as well sell that idea now. At least
I
for
don't
his,
got to see him at all. Click.
at least for his
Just saying.
at least for his contract, he's going to be there. But working with Lashley is going to improve him, just like working with AJ did. AJ gave him personality. Lashley's going to give him.
It'll improve him while he's in the ring with him, but it won't improve him, period. Because he's not absorbing, in my opinion. I don't think he's getting better. That's just me.
I don't know.
Chris, go ahead and say what you say, because Chris
Yeah,
can't
Chris.
stand the dude. I can't either. We both.
I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan.
Chris don't even want to say it.
Well, I'll say this, man. When it comes to Omos, I've seen sexier train wrecks than his wrestling.
And you've seen Nia Jax work, so that's saying something.
Man,
Right?
that's got the sex appeal of a school bus fire.
It really
God,
does.
where's that from? Where is
I
that
don't know,
line
but-
from? I can't remember.
But yeah, I mean, Nia Jax is actually compared to Omos would be Bret Hart compared to
No,
Omos.
no.
Woo.
Nia
Oh.
Jax is the female Omos. Omos is the male
No,
Nia
no,
Jax.
no,
They are
no,
one and the same.
No, if
Except,
you
hold
compare,
on. Except Omos hasn't hurt almost everybody he's been in the ring with yet. I
Yeah.
will go that far as to say at least Omos hasn't been a physical freaking danger to somebody's life and physical well-being yet. I will say that much. That's a positive. There's nothing will ever fix my disdain for Nia Jax. And it has nothing to do with her heritage because she comes from one of the greatest wrestling families of all time. But guess what? In every family, you always know you got that one messed up uncle or cousin or somebody that can't function in society. And welcome, Nia Jax, to the show.
You can't fit her ego through the door, baby. That's it. Her ego
Right.
don't fit in the room. I can't believe I'm still talking about Omos. I got one more thing. Strowman had the benefit of Kane and Big Show. Omos has nobody. So
Yeah.
in his defense, Omos doesn't have a big man saying, dude, work with me. Well, let's work on this. He doesn't have that in his defense.
Right.
Oh.
Okay, well, when Big Show gets, oh wait, what's Big Show doing now? When he gets brought
AEW.
back to WWE, and
Yeah.
same with possibly Mark Henry, they may end up back on there doing what they were supposed to be doing for AEW or what they are doing with AEW. They might get over there doing the same thing.
Oh,
Who knows?
Speaking of Mark Henry, how about Mark Henry and Mae Young's baby had his WrestleMania debut?
He did.
On night one.
Yes.
We're getting there next.
Oh, wow.
We're getting there next. Actually, you know what the hell? We're going there right now because welcome to Jackass. I'm sorry to anybody who did not enjoy this. I had a blast. I damn near pissed myself laughing. It was the funnest experience I've seen at a wrestling show.
And just
in
goes
anything.
to prove that the GOAT is still being conspired on again.
I give Sammy so much more. I like Sammy so much more now because of his performance at WrestleMania. That's not even funny. He did so good working with Knoxville that you could tell Sammy really is that good of a wrestler. He's that talented.
It wasn't just against Knoxville. It was 5-on-1, bro. Well, 4.5-on-1. It was 4.5-on-1.
Jason Acuna with the body slam looked so good. I loved it. Oh man, such a
That's
fun match.
Sami Zayn deserves a raise after this, for sure.
No,
But he,
Sammy
but
hadn't
he
done
did.
anything now to earn one until this.
But he did make Johnny look like $1 million.
Yes, he did.
Mhm.
He made Knoxville look like $1 million.
The bowling ball was great. I freaking popped for the bowling ball. I loved it. And so did Sammy, literally.
There was no actual wrestling in this match. It was just a big story of him getting conspired on by the 6 guys. There was actually 6, so 5.5. The whole cast of Jackass
Yeah.
pretty much, destroyed him, and he let him destroy him. I mean, for real that if Sammy was actually going to wrestle in this match, he would have destroyed all 5 of them. But it was fun. It was to me, that was my favorite match of the night. Not just because of Sammy. It was just a fun, wholehearted. You knew it wasn't serious from the beginning, and it played out through the whole thing. It was just, to me, it was like a huge commercial without all the, you got to buy this, you got to buy this. But it was fun to watch. It was really fun to watch.
It was a fun match, man. I enjoyed it, man. And just seeing how, Wee Man coming out with a body slam, and I was like, and that's another credit to Sammy, man. Sammy's just taking slams from guys 6 foot or bigger, but to take somebody from a guy 3 foot and under and still do your form just right, taking the bump, that's a credit, man. That's a credit because you're basically on the ground already. So, I mean, hey, it was a fun match. I enjoyed it.
And Sammy did something for his brand. Now, it's not his brand, it's Vince's brand, right? But he did something for himself. His face is in places that it wasn't in before because of this match. And we're not sitting here going, Sammy deserves better. He should be world champion. Sammy could do whatever he wants to. He's good enough to be a champion of any level, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
But Sammy's also insanely freaking funny, insanely entertaining. that conspiracy stuff, R-Truth did a great job with the conspiracy stuff. Sammy's just as good at it, in my opinion, if not better a little. But like, dude, he's
right up
Sammy's
after he-
so fun. Sammy's so fun, dude. I love
This
that guy.
was, man, this is where I would have turned off Raw years ago. I would have turned it off.
Yeah.
I would be like,
I wouldn't have.
I'm not watching this garbage, man. This is kind of stuff that I'm not down with.
So you didn't watch during the Attitude Era? Because a lot of goofier stuff
No.
in this happened in
No,
the
he
Attitude
didn't
Era.
watch it. No, he didn't.
No,
watch it.
No, he wasn't watching in the Attitude Era.
Oh,
But see,
I couldn't
that's my age demographic, though,
But-
guys. I got to tell y'all, I wore the MTV Jackass hat, and I skateboarded nonstop from the time I was like 13 to about 20. We lived at a skate park at me and my friends, so Jackass was like the thing to me. That's my era.
It's part of your upbringing.
So to me, I was a kid again, sitting here dying. My kids are like, "What in the hell is on TV, Dad?" And there was the only part I had to shy away from was Pontius shaking his ass. That was the only part I was like, "Hold up," because my son's like, "Dad, why is that guy doing that in front of all those people?" I'm like, "Son, you do it now in front of the house. What are you talking about?" And but
yeah, Tom. This right here, man, I was all in it. I was laughing my tail. It was funny, man. It was hilarious. I mean, the whole thing was, I was into it 100%, man. It's probably as far as the second night, it was my favorite part of the whole night. I mean, the interference by Party Boy, and then the slam by Wee Man, and man, the one finger slapping him in the face, all that stuff, man. And then he, going through the Walmart table, man. I mean. Everything about it. It was just hilarious, and man, they played it off the way they played it, and the way they ran it. It was just, it came out 100%. It got over, man, and like you said,
it was huge.
Sammy could go a lot of places off this match. It was beautiful, man. So I think who was that? Not Entertainment Tonight, but who was that? The other
Inside Edition.
Inside Edition, yes. Inside Edition, they should. I think they'll show this and all that. So it's definitely gonna put him out there, man, on another atmosphere. He's just gonna shoot, man. Let me go ahead and steal this from Cameron Grimes. He's gonna shoot to the moon from this, man. But yeah, I love it. It was cool.
Yeah. Made Knoxville look good. I agree with his brother. Very articulate wrestling, guys. I don't know what Cinema One is, my brother, but what's up, Wes? Let's see here. The Rat Trap. Yeah, the Rat Trap.
Geez, yeah.
I wish the big Rat Trap would have went off the way he wanted it to. He was supposed to, but he had to mess with it, and that kind of
the cord broke. Hey, when you're live, it's live, and you got to go with what happens.
Yeah, exactly.
Banks and Naomi defeated Rhea and Liv, Mela and Selena, and Natalya and Shayna. I will be honest with you. I really felt that they were going to finally put the gold on Liv Morgan, who I feel has earned it in her last 18 months of work. Her last year and a half have been nothing short of constant, consistent improvement. Mic work's gotten through the roof. Standing on her own instead of part of the Riot Squad. It's gone and gone and gone. I have been saying it's her time for quite some time, but it's okay. I'm not against this because they're going to go after the titles next week for some reason. That logically makes no sense, but guys, sound off on the match. What'd you think of the match? I thought it was a pretty good one for another multi-entity match. They get out of hand.
If you wanted a match to put all the women, to make sure all the women got a spot, cool. But me personally, and I know my guy right here below me is going to agree with this. Too many people in that match, man. Way too many people in that match. I loved it. Everybody got their moves in. It was a good match. It was clean. It was nice. Wait, I would have just rather have had a tag team match, man. Just have a tag team match and blow the roof off the place. But
100%.
they had to get everybody in there because it's WrestleMania, and I agree with it because they all need to shine, but too many people in the match, man. But I did like it, and I'm a Sasha Banks mark, so of course, I was jumping up and down when it was over.
Oh, and Scott, I got since you're a Sasha Banks mark, I got something to tell you about this whole match. This is Sasha Banks' first WrestleMania win.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, for real?
Wow. Yes.
Wow.
Go back and look. This is her first WrestleMania win in any match she's had.
Oh, man.
And she's had some big matches. So,
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Too bad it had to be in a tag team setting, but nice.
I for one, I like this match too. I was happy to see the women's tag team titles having a little bit of the spotlight. All these girls, they deserve their own spotlight and stuff like that. It was kind of like more of a I feel like I try to look at the positive. So that's the positives. The women's tag match, women's tag team titles had a little bit of focus, and then you got some very credible people, and Natalia and Shayna. I think that's a great tag team, because they're both submission specialists. I didn't understand Carmella and Selena. It is what it is. Rhea and Liv, I thought that was opposites attract thing too. But Banks and Naomi back to the Team Bad Days during the Divas Revolution. I'm happy for her and Naomi. And Naomi to me is somebody that she has the athletic ability and all that. I feel like they stop and start with her a lot. It's like they almost don't know what to do with her, but I'm glad to see Naomi get a little bit of payoff after the whole thing with Sonya Deville.
Right.
I love to see her and Sasha winning this. I think it was great, and I think it's, for as much as we, and by we I mean me, a lot of times bag on WWE, and I think with good reason. Everybody, calm down. But I will say that almost all of their champions now are people of color, which is that took long enough, didn't it? I mean, I'm just saying, putting it out there. But I think that's impressive. And Finn's a title holder. He's not even born in this country. So it feels like there's finally hey, other people are talented too. So that's nice. And Naomi's been fighting the good fight, again, doing everything she's asked to do, getting over every time you put her out there. So finally she gets a little something. I'm all about it. It's just a question of when does Sasha stab her in the back? Because that's probably coming.
Right.
Yeah.
Because she's becoming like the Kevin Owens of the women's division. You can't trust her and she can't have any friends.
Yeah.
That's the Paul White of the women's division. That is the big show of the women's division. She got more face heel turns than a two-faced coin being flipped off the top of the Ferris wheel.
Time though, don't you? You got to say that.
I'm surprised she had.
No,
I guess
no,
they
it
weren't
doesn't.
together long enough for her to turn on Naomi before they got the titles. But I'm glad they won the titles. But as far as this match going with Scott, I mean, I do agree. I do agree with Sarah a little bit there. I mean, seeing everybody get their shine. I mean, that was great. I mean, I don't care about, I don't care for, I'm with her on that. I don't care about as far as Carmella and Zelina. I never liked that team. And as far as what Ron says about Liv, I would like to see Liv get something. But for some reason, man, I just don't, I just have this feeling. It's just like if she gets a title, man, I don't know. I just feel like she's not on that tier as far as a champion. I don't know why. It's, as much as I like her a lot, but I feel like she's not on the tier to be the title, be the title holder. But as far as this match go, man, it was okay. It was a little too much for me, and I got to the point where I was like, in the match, I think probably within like the last 3 or 4 minutes of the match, I was like, oh, come on, I was wanting it to be over with because there was so much going on and there was so many different players in this thing. I just got tired of watching it.
I just have this one question. It was a decent match. I ain't gonna say it was a world breaker, but it was a decent match. They did what they had to do. Good job, Naomi and Sasha getting the belts. But my one question is, When will Natalia finally get the strap? That's
Which,
my question.
So Natalia's
she's had
been
both titles, hasn't she?
she's been champ before.
Yeah.
She has?
Yeah.
She was SmackDown champion back in 2017.
She was Divas
Oh.
champion even. Natalia's
wow.
been around for a hot minute, bro.
I know she. Yeah, I know she was the Divas champion,
But-
but I didn't know she was.
Yeah, she was
Yeah,
SmackDown Women's Champion like in 2017.
And see,
Yeah.
that lets you know right there. It wasn't worth a flip because I don't even remember it. It
Yeah,
was
as much
quick-
as
it
you
had to
watch-
be a- as much as I watched, it had to be a quick blip on the radar.
It's not necessarily that. Natalia is a generational talent who can be utilized long term, which is what they've done with her. Natalia's got one of the longest tenures ever as a female professional wrestler. She's outlasted some of the highest ranked men's careers because of her longevity. And she's still helping develop that. She's been developing it since before the women's evolution, women's revolution, women's whatever they called it.
Mhm.
She came from the Divas era.
Yeah.
She started way back in that at the end of the bra and panties era to now.
Mhm.
And
was
she's
a
still
champion
there doing that thing.
2011.
Right. So you see what I'm saying? Now, the only thing that's been said that I have to counter is one point brought up by Harry. Harry, you said that you don't see where Liv could be a title holder.
Yeah, I'm not.
Carmella has held the strap.
Yes,
I
she has.
now rest my case because wrestler to wrestler, ain't no way. I
Hey,
feel like
Mark.
Liv Morgan is more talented on that microphone in that ring than Carmella is. That's
I can
my
agree.
opinion.
I can agree there, but Carmella, I don't think Carmella deserved the title. So it's not saying that I don't think Liv deserved the title, man. It's just for some reason I don't see her. Put it like this: as far as the ladies in WWE right now, I don't see her. I don't put her on Becky's level. I don't put her on Charlotte's level. I don't put her on Bianca's level. I don't put her on Sasha's level. I just don't. So that's the reason why I'm saying, okay, you give her the strap, then I'm looking at these other four ladies and saying, okay. I mean, of course they got two titles, and they probably join these two together sometime soon. So I'm looking at these other four ladies, and I'm just like, So that's what I'm talking about right there, Scott. It's not that, and Liv is getting better and better. I would love to see her have the title. Don't get me wrong; she's one of my favorite. Probably after Bianca, she's probably my second favorite. So, if she gets the title, that'll be great. But I'm just saying, man, if you're going by if I'm going by pure talent and from what I'm seeing, what the eyes are seeing right now, I don't see her as that top level. I see her on second tier right now. So that's just the way I see it right now. But yes, she definitely deserves to get that, man, and she's building to that. But who knows what she's going to be in 6 months or a year? She's probably going to be a lot better than what she is now because she's definitely improving, vastly improving. So,
final thought on that is going to be if they do make it one main women's title like they're doing with the men's, then that means they have to introduce two new mid-card women's titles, one for each show. So, more gold, more people can wear it. That may be the direction it goes. But I feel like she could have been the one that dethroned Becky and then lose the title to Bianca at Mania. That logically could have worked as well. But the revenge storyline did work from SummerSlam all the way to now. Everything's worked. I like to see people I've got invested in. I like to see it, get their comeuppance. You know what I'm saying?
definitely.
So, but a huge match that the world was all aghast for. And I'm probably going to catch a lot of flack for this. As good as it was, it didn't deliver everything I wanted it to.
I think it was missing something, but it was still a great match. I definitely think this is not over by a long shot. So that's the good thing.
Hey,
I think the Edge heel turn is blowing this for a lot of people because it felt weird and it felt unnecessary. And we now know the Edge is a married dude with kids who is a really good guy and came back from a career-ending injury, and we kind of really love him for that. And now he's a bad guy again. So it's like, I don't know. I think, not speaking for everybody, but it just feels like people are having a hard time with that. So I think maybe that affected some of this, maybe. But these two guys are automatic. They're great.
Mhm.
I enjoyed the match. Was it missing something? The only thing that was for me is, even though I love Edge's gear, even though I love the Brood-esque entrance, love it, but it just feels like, why are we supposed to hate this guy again? You know.
And see, Tom, I'm with you on that. That's what killed the whole match for me. I couldn't get into the match because why are you trying to make Edge Undertaker 2.0 and start another Brood? Why?
Oh my gosh,
Why?
I'm just the opposite as you.
I can't do it. I can't do it. That killed it for me.
I
That
love
killed
that.
it.
I love that. Oh my gosh, we disagree. We're gonna agree to disagree, man. Because I want
Damian
to.
Priest, everybody. Damian Priest.
Damian Priest. The only thing is, they got to find one more dark guy, and I don't think they have one on the roster. I looked.
Did you hear the rumors though?
But
We're talking about Rhea Ripley and Ciampa.
Now,
are the rumors.
Now, Rhea Ripley would fit. That would be cool.
I can see that.
That would fit. I was talking about, man, I thought I was going to make it a new, 3-man faction like they had back in the day. But if they're going to add a woman, Rhea would fit to that. She would easily. That would be great. That would make it pop.
My personal favorite wrestler on the planet would fit in that as well. My personal favorite wrestler on the planet is Tommaso Ciampa, and I hate to break it to anybody who doesn't know already. The dude can be the most dastardly heel you could ever want in your life and time. I've never seen so much of a heat magnet out of anybody.
Ciampa's such a chameleon. He could do it
I
all.
love his work.
But would it be a disservice to his character to have him playing second fiddle to Edge? Because I think Ciampa could lead his own faction.
Yeah. It could be like his right-hand man almost because, if you have Edge in this new stable and you got people like Damian Priest is already pledged his allegiance to it, right? And then if you get people like Rhea Ripley, Tommaso Ciampa, that's kind of like Edge is like leading, but it's kind of like somebody's going to take that over. And I could see Ciampa being that person. And Tommaso Ciampa and Edge possibly at a WrestleMania? Dude, sign me up. Like,
yeah, that's great. Let's put two guys that have had career-ending neck injuries and surgeries against each other.
No, don't do that.
At least they're going to know how to protect each other.
Yeah.
Because, dude, I could tell you one thing. I was already a Ciampa fan. Like, I already liked the guy. But then to watch those behind-the-scenes videos, I sat, and I got no problem saying that I sat on my couch and cried. Because I freaking loved it. It hit all the right notes because guess what? I understand not feeling it. I understand, that damage. I understand these things. So to see what goes through that and what you have to go through to get back, it hit every note I've got for me.
Now
so I loved it.
Now let's talk
about
this.
You too.
Yeah.
You too. You're in that boat.
Yeah. But
not a lot of people know that, but you're in that boat.
I am. But let's talk about this from a storyline point of view, though. Okay, so Edge goes over. We're starting a new Brood, if you will. Okay. We know WWE. In our minds as fans, it makes sense for AJ to try to get some revenge, to get his win back and everything. But now, like I said, in our minds, he's going to have to fight the number game because we don't know who else is going to join and all this and all that. So they're going to keep beating him up. It makes sense at some point, possibly at SummerSlam, he gets his pound of flesh. Okay, if they want to do a long-term story with that. But as we know, WWE, WrestleMania is over, storyline could possibly be over. And then what do you do with this new faction?
I remember
Have
the good
another
old
one they
days when
book it?
WrestleMania was the blow off of feuds, and now it seems like it's
Right.
not, because
Exactly.
Monday, let's have the match again, and you get to watch it for free. So it seems like they never wrap anything up, though. Honestly,
No, you're right.
Yeah, I think they attacked AJ Styles last night on Raw. So I could see an ally in Finn Balor for AJ Styles, because didn't he just beat Damian Priest for the United States Championship?
Another big piece to the puzzle here, guys. There are 3 Bullet Club leaders in WWE.
Damn sure is.
AJ,
Damn sure is.
Cody, and Finn Balor.
Oh yeah. I forgot
So,
about Cody.
There's your faction. And now look, as Chris Burton, you posted the thing with the steakhouse from Japan and the For Life, and I said it ain't the OG For Life, because the OG For Life for me, I still got the original. I'm sorry, I have the second generation NWO shirt in my possession. I still have that.
Yeah.
And it's still actually in really good shape. It's in way better shape than most of my other T-shirts. I promise that. But could you imagine whether they go for an NWO new world, an N squared world order? I don't know, an N squared WO. I don't know, versus a new brood. That's a weird combination there, because towards the end, just like the last time the NWO, all the NWOs, they were the cool bad guys.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't go back to it if it's me. Knowing that company, they will, because they can't stay out of the past to save their lives. But
Right.
if it's me, I wouldn't do it. And I don't think you even mentioned the Bullet Club thing on the air anymore, because that's New Japan shtick. They own it. They're doing this up high now. They're no longer doing it down low. I'd leave that alone. I love where your head's at, because you make a lot of sense. But I don't know, man. I think you leave it alone. I mean, and plus at this point, who would even have AJ's back? Because he's been like the worst kind of person everybody's crossed paths with over the past 2 years.
Right? Yeah.
So realistically speaking, who would ever have his back besides Finn? Maybe. Like, you're right. Him and Finn make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Cody?
What about the Good Brothers?
They're no longer
God,
there.
no. Leave them out of this.
WWE. If you call in the Good Brothers and you pay them enough, they'll show up. It might be a one and done, but they'll show up.
They won't do one and done. No.
I don't want them to show back up.
I'm with Tom. I hope they leave that alone. I really do.
Yeah.
Well,
But who knows? Who knows what you?
yeah, exactly.
No.
But as far
I
as
could
this
see-
match, for what it was, I thought it was a decent match.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Reality is,
I thought it was good.
look at it like this. If the faction's got 4, 1 woman, 3 men, 4 people, that tells me Survivor Series. So
Yeah.
He's
that
still long
logically could do
looking over there. WWE ain't even thinking about that right now.
you don't know. They might have written all this crap. This might be something Cody wrote, and we have no idea what Cody's deal is. So, but either way, we got 3 matches to go. This was easy because it was the worst match of the night.
This match
I think this was
supposed to be on the first night, and you could tell they just threw this in for the second night.
I definitely wanted it. I'm right with you, Sarah. I was like, man, that should be first night. I'm like, that match should have been on the first night.
Oh,
Probably
my
the
God.
first match should have been a lead-in match.
It was supposed to be.
Yeah, okay.
And the reason I'm laughing so hard, I was watching this, and I'm sitting on the edge of the bed. My wife was in bed when we were watching this. It was a match. I'll say that. It was a match. But what got me, my wife literally said, "Oh my God, what is wrong with this Butch? He's like a damn leprechaun. He wants to fight everybody." When I tell you, I laughed for about 40 minutes to the point where my face looked like somebody splashed water on my face from crying so much of tears. I could not stop laughing, and it was just hilarious. I just loved that part because he just wanted to fight everybody, and Sheamus couldn't focus on the match for trying to hold back this little Chihuahua pit bull.
Pete Dunne was a killer. They took a
Yeah.
killer and they turned him into a clown.
Yeah, they
Because
did.
it's
Yeah.
follow with me, kids. It's what they do. To them, someone's backstage going, "Oh my God, this is so good," and we're all
That's
going,
such good shit, pal.
"Yeah, we're all going freaking."
How many
Pete,
times
man.
have? How many times did NXT make such great wrestlers, and then when
Oh,
they got
wow.
to the main roster, they ruined them? They ruined
Yeah.
them.
Went down
Yeah.
to die.
But
I mean-
but I can't lie though. That was just seeing Pete Dunne just wanting to fight everybody for no reason, man.
All right.
He's pissed off.
That was
If I was-
hilarious, man.
If I went from that to Butch, I'd be pissed
Oh, yeah.
off too.
Yeah.
He's probably
Some-
trying to get fired.
Somebody came at me.
Put him up in the main roster and just make him just crazy character. And just,
Somebody-
let's see how he really get mad. He's really gonna get pissed because he.
Yeah, let's make him Sheamus 2.0 with a little pit dog, a little pit dog in him.
Somebody came at me on Facebook because all I said was, "Butch, yeah, I'm not watching." That's all I said on the night they changed him. And some doofus came at me and said, "Oh, well, Tom, what they do is this guy educates me." I'm not saying I'm a know-it-all because I'm not. I'm not. Don't get me wrong. I'm no better than
Wow.
anybody here or
Wow.
anybody else around.
Everybody
But-
has the right to their opinion, though.
I've been doing this a long time, but this
Right.
guy decided to educate me on how WWE likes to own the name. So I said, but Pete Dunne is not his real name.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So like
Yeah.
your argument falls flat. We see a killer, they see a clown. They
Yeah.
see, like you just said, Leprechaun, that's what Vince sees.
Yeah.
And all that matters is what Vince sees. And that, as long as you understand that, you can't get mad at it anymore. You know what I mean?
And Chris and I earlier today we was talking about it. We was talking about it earlier today. We couldn't even remember the guy's name. Between us two, we couldn't even remember his name.
I couldn't
from-
remember
from NXT.
Pete's name.
I mean, because
and you know what? You think of Pete Dunne and the incredible matches he's had with like
Yeah.
Tyler Bate
Yeah.
and Walter, and I mean even some of the NXT guys.
Wow.
And he had a very until Walter took it from him, he had one of the longest reigns of any WWE title with the UK Championship.
yeah.
And this is how they're presenting them on the main roster. And that goes hand in hand of why you can't create new stars.
Well,
Don't you mean Gunter?
Gunther.
Yeah.
so
And
All right.
my point exactly.
Omos is over more than this new character. That's telling you something.
And speaking
Here's-
of Gunter, Tom, the other night on Stand and the Stand and Deliver pay per view,
Yeah.
one of the commentators kept calling him Gunter. Man, I was like Gunter.
no, that's how it's actually pronounced.
For real,
There.
man? For real, Gunter. Okay.
Guntar.
Well,
Yes, Guntar. Right?
Gunter. Yeah, no
Just when
TH,
you
but
thought
Gunter.
it was bad,
yeah.
it's even worse, you know?
Yeah.
And
Wow.
he was, yeah. Well, that's, you got to figure Wade Barrett's from like Wales, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's from the UK.
And that's the
somewhere.
reason why he was saying Gunter. Okay.
So Welsh dialect, and all of you right now curse Luke for not being here because Luke would educate us on British and English etiquette because he
That's
knows better
true.
than I do.
Yeah.
But the Welsh people have a more proper dialect when it comes to pronouncing things and enunciating things than your average person from, jolly old England. But
Yeah.
it's just a difference of inflection on certain aspects of the word or whatever they're saying. But
Oh yeah.
But
the kicker,
Match. I just want to say one thing: the New Day coming out and the outfits that they were
Oh,
wearing.
yeah, for Big E. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cahoots,
That's,
man.
that
Love
was
it.
great.
I loved it.
I love
was
that.
great.
but it was it was the worst match on the card. It was abysmal.
And that's not their fault. They got they got scrapped the first night, and they're like, oh, let's just throw it in because the fans noticed and make this like 2 minutes.
I hope they tear this apart and redo the whole thing, but they're probably not. They're going to continue this for another 6 months.
Oh my gosh.
It was going to be that short or shorter if it was on night 1. It was going to be no different if it was on night 1 versus night 2. It was irrelevant. This was a throwaway match.
New Day. I just feel for the New Day. That's all I'm going to say.
I do too, but at the same time, all right, you got your choice. Who are you going to put on the card? You want to put them on the card, or do you want to put Ricochet or Balor on the card? Okay, because you got
Don't
your
make
choice.
me choose like that. That's mean.
Right. Okay. You see my point. That's my point.
Okay,
That
combine
was their
Ricochet
point.
and Balor and put them up against New Day, and I would have had a blast.
No, all right. So now you're leaving off Sheamus, Ridge, and Dunn. So now you're axing 3 guys from seeing. You see what I'm saying? No matter, there's always a give
That
and
would have
take.
been all right though.
Sheamus don't need the push. Sheamus is Sheamus. I mean, he's going to be legendary no matter where he shows up or doesn't show up at. And we're already talking about that tag team or whatever, that misfit band of 2 characters that they put together. We don't like them anyway. So what would it matter?
I think we're all missing the real point here is that Ridge Holland got a WrestleMania payday and had the best night of his career by far. Good for him, dude. Good for him.
Yeah.
That's a great thing.
He got a nice bonus in his check. He got a nice.
It would have been it would have been different if it was New Day, all 3 of them versus all 3 of them, which was what it was supposed to be. That's what it was supposed to be. I have a feeling you're going to see Butch versus Woods, and I'm going to go ahead and say it now. That's going to be if they let that match breathe the way it needs to breathe, that's going to be a great match.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Woods is the only New Day guy who hasn't had a title push.
Yeah, he's
a
on
world title push.
Yeah, world title. Yeah.
He also probably will not ever have that.
Why?
And that's a shame. That's a shame. Right. Oh, why? Yeah, exactly. Why?
Listen, hold on. All right, I will put it out there because I like Xavier Woods. He's not a draw on the scale that most of these other people are. Kofi Kingston, a draw. Kofi Kingston is a draw. Big E, everybody been begging for Big E since Dolph Ziggler held the belt. They gave it to Kofi before they gave it to Big E.
I think you're selling Xavier short, man. Honestly, I don't.
I find him extremely talented. I am not saying he's not talented. I don't feel he's a draw enough
now,
where the company
have a year-long run. No.
It's kind of like what Harry was saying about Liv Morgan earlier.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just don't. That's what I was about.
Yeah.
I was going to say exactly that, but I was going to agree with Ron, but I agree with Sarah 100%.
And like I said, I love Xavier Woods. I think he's a talented guy. Austin Creed, a great wrestler. He's a great wrestler. He's funny on the mic. He's got comedic timing and performance. His promos aren't bad. I like the guy. He's got it all. He's not a draw. That's the problem. The problem isn't about
out front. You put his comedic genius out front and highlight everything he's done as being a part of the New Day. I think and you know WWE is the best at putting somebody over. They give him enough vignettes, they'll push him all, sky's the limit, man. And I think I'm going to agree with Tom over here. You're selling him way short, man. You're selling him way short.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I find him extremely talented. I enjoy watching the man. I just don't see where he fits the mold of holding.
We've got 50,000 podcasts that are going to branch from this show.
Chris,
go ahead and tell me why I'm wrong. Go for it.
I'm just going to say this. I'm going to say this, man. Okay. Xavier Woods, WWE champion. He headlines WrestleMania. Is it believable?
No.
I do.
But if you're looking at it through today's eyes, maybe not. But can you a year from now? Your story might change. Daniel
Yeah.
Bryan, and when he was Bryan Danielson RH, we all knew how good he was. He didn't mean anything in that company because they didn't want him to mean anything because they want him to stay right here. But as soon as he said no for the first time and hugged Kane, all bets were off because people went, that guy's entertaining. Next thing you know, he's exploding. And people already love Xavier. I see where you guys are coming from, but I think Xavier is one catchphrase away or one feud away from people going, okay, let's see what this guy can do on his own. I really think
agree.
he is.
He's
If I had to-
talented. He's talented.
If I had to pencil it in, the only person that is active on the roster right now who I could see him taking the title from would be Cody Rhodes in about 18 months. I could see him taking the title from Cody Rhodes in about 18 months. Good God, in 2 years' time, I could write Sarah as the freaking world heavyweight champion in WWE. I could do anything in 18 months. But I'm saying
I would even say it doesn't even have to be the World Heavyweight Championship or the Unified Championship. Make him put him in there with the greats of the Intercontinental Champion. I mean, give him
that's no problem. That's no problem. That I can see with ease. But I'm talking about putting the world title on somebody.
Right.
Yeah, because I mean that's the whole thing. If you're the champion, your whole job is to put asses in seats.
You're
You
the
are the face of the company. Yeah,
If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense.
Yeah,
I mean, and,
I
mean that's the,
disagree.
100%. And plus,
I
love Tom.
disagree.
I love Tom.
So you guys mean to
plus
tell
it's-
me? Sorry, Harry.
no problem, Tom. Tom, go ahead. Let me say this real quick. Plus, it's but no, I can't even say what I was gonna say. Tom, go ahead, man. Wow.
I was just going to throw it back to you guys and ask you. So you mean to sit there with a straight face and tell me that the Miz was the top guy in the face of the company? This is not a pro wrestling company, as everyone here has admitted. This is an entertainment company. The world champion doesn't have to be a draw. People come for the show. I mean, Miz didn't draw anybody when he was WWE champion either time.
Facts.
You could
Right.
argue. I'm just saying.
Facts.
I hated it then. So, and it didn't make me like The Miz anymore. It doesn't make me appreciate him at all. That's my thing. I like Xavier too much for him to get treated like shit.
It's two different guys. It's two different
Right,
guys.
but what are they going to do? You got to do something that makes sense to protect him.
I
because
can't argue with Tom's point.
as good as he is, I don't want to see it wasted on a fluke win like that.
Oh, they'll put the belt on him. They'll put the belt on him, and Brock will take it in 30 seconds like they did his two boys. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there.
If that happened, that would be jacked up. But I more or less see it as...
I don't put it past them.
The way I see it going is more like Cody, AJ, Xavier, Finn, maybe Priest at that point in time. Those guys will be in the hunt. But other than that, I don't know. But
Can you believe we're still talking about this?
I know, the worst match of the card, and we drew it out.
We're still talking about it.
wow.
I'll tell you what, the thing about us, each and every one of us, well, outside of Tom, because Tom is looking at it like he's looking at this company and the history of the company and the people that they made champions. We're all the rest of us. We're all looking at how serious this champion, how serious the champion should be made out. So we're looking at a serious champion. Somebody a serious champion, and Tom is telling us this company's not serious. It's entertainment.
Entertainment, right?
And so
Okay.
So that's why, like I said, I get his point. I get where he's going with it.
All right.
But I thought, what's the other New Day guy who had the title?
Big E.
And I hated it. I hated it. I like Big E, but I hated it. I did. I didn't like
No,
it.
I enjoyed it.
That's a
It
whole
was
nother
fun.
podcast right
Yeah,
there.
that was fun.
All right,
We gotta
next
talk-
match.
We
Get
got to
hot
talk
here.
about. We got to talk about the best wrestling match of night 2. Here it is. Pat
Oh my
McAfee
God,
defeated
yeah.
Austin Theory. Look at everything else that's happened on this night. This was by far the WrestleMania magic moment of the weekend for me. This was up there. This was my favorite match of night 2.
Pat McAfee, man, he shined. He really did.
This
And he-
had my biggest spot of the whole WrestleMania was in this match. When he was up there and he got pushed down and he flipped and landed flat. I mean, a perfect landing. Boom. Planted it, looked at him, took 2 steps and jumped to the top rope. I was out of my seat. I was like, oh, this does it. This
Yeah.
of WrestleMania. I don't care what happens from here on out. That move right there, from him not even being a wrestler and then landed a perfect superplex. I was done.
He did that against Adam Cole in NXT.
Yeah,
Same
that's what I was
identical
about
spot.
to say. That's what I was about to say.
I had never seen it though, so that's why I wigged
It's
out.
excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just about to say that, Tom.
Anybody who hasn't watched any of the Pat McAfee work on NXT, you are hurting yourself. You are cutting yourself. You're bleeding all over the floor right now because what you got out of Mania was wonderful. It really fit. I mean, of course, afterwards it went right down the crapper, but that's okay. It's Mania. We're used to that. We're used to all this good, and then the toilet gets flushed.
Right.
That's what we're used to.
You
That's
couldn't
what
have
we're used to.
better.
But it was so magical. The kicker was, and
That's a
and there's
disturbing
proof.
image, by the way. Now I can't get it out of my head. Thanks for that.
You're welcome. I will go ahead and repeat what I said on my show this weekend. I do this show strictly for my pleasure, and you can always bet on me to pleasure myself. That's right, ladies and gentlemen.
Man, wow.
You do that.
Thank you, Robert Downey. Don't think I don't know where you got that from. All right.
You're the only freaking person who got it. You're the only person who's done it, and I knew it would be you. Thank you, Tom. I freaking love you, man.
I was gonna say Andrew Dice
Marvel is the
Clay.
third M and the 6M. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I was gonna say Andrew Dice Clay, but hey, tomato, tomato.
Man, hey, look, I love the Dice Man too. I can't go wrong there. I'm an old school guy.
Pat McAfee. I mean, who would have thought? Who would have thought? I mean, seriously, coming into WrestleMania, that 2 non-wrestlers would get everybody talking the day after WrestleMania.
Right.
Me?
Not me. I was never. I didn't even have Paul Logan on my radar coming into this,
Okay.
and then here we are talking about Logan and McAfee being the greatest spots of the night.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Prime example. Let's rewind to last year. What was my man, the music
Bad
artist?
Bunny. Bad Bunny.
Bad Bunny.
Bad
How
Bunny.
many people talked about him?
And
Right.
and here's the trick. I think because of Bad Bunny doing it so well, everybody else who's going behind him, y'all moving to Florida for 6 months and you're going to NXT. And you better not get seen and you better not spill the beans. And we're closing off this port of the training facility. And, how's your father? Let's go. Get to work. That's it.
Yeah.
That's how they're doing it.
I mean, for God's sake, Bad Bunny did a Canadian destroyer
Yeah.
perfectly.
Yeah.
I mean, if
That's
somebody
no
probably
easy
never
move.
Yeah, no, not man. Look, I know guys, man, in the indies right now that won't dare pull that off.
Mm-hmm.
They won't dare. And if I'm lying, somebody correct me. I mean, but
You're not wrong. Chris, look at all right. You know me, and you know who I associate with. You know who I
Yeah.
talk to. Look at how long it's taken me to get somebody to do a deadlift German down here. I got one freaking person willing to do a deadlift German in independent wrestling. Thank God, because I think it's a very impressive move that you don't see. I love the things that you don't see. And I don't mean tope suicidas or all this bonkers bananas off the rafters of a scaffold into a pile of thumbtacks on a lit table with sparklers underneath. I don't need that. I want good quality wrestling moves. And I got it out of an NFL player. And I can't buy it on standard television. But I get it out of an NFL player.
But
Will you please explain that to me? I got it
that's
out of Logan freaking Paul, a YouTube jackass, a YouTube jerk off, and I get wrestling moves out of him better than I get out of paid wrestling performers on a daily.
But that
Give
goes
me
to
a
show
break.
you, man. That goes to show you if you have just enough athletic ability and a will to learn, what you're about to undertake and take it seriously. Not be like, okay, I'm just going here and do a clothesline, a couple punches and kicks, and that's all I need to do. But actually learn.
That's what I was expecting.
That's the
Now,
thing.
guys, when I saw him on the card, I was expecting, oh yeah, because we've seen it back in the early WrestleManias. Some of them guys showed up, and I can't remember names because you guys know my mind, but
Lawrence Taylor,
Carl Malone.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it wasn't anything to phone
Dennis
home
Rodman.
about. We're not talking about Dennis Rodman. Thank you. It was nothing to phone home about. These guys were legitly wrestling, and it was
Even
great.
Mr. T. Even Mr. T, all the way, like we can go all the way back to Mr. T. It's never been there until recently. Bad Bunny inspired the
Bad
future of
Bunny
this.
and-
Thank
He
God.
set the standard, man.
yeah,
He
he
really
did.
did.
Yeah, he did.
But I expected Pat McAfee to take it serious because I mean he's been in the wrestling business and not just as a commentator. So I knew I expected more out of him, and I did expect Logan Paul to do more too because, like I say, man, he's very serious. Him and his brother are very serious about the boxing business.
Jeez.
So
Drew
Carey.
Barry.
Oh,
God.
God.
Man, the other one was the cat. Dolph Ziggler had a little run in with Hugh Jackman years and years ago. And the kicker of this was the caveat was that Hugh Jackman couldn't throw a working punch.
And
So Ziggler was just like, don't make it look bad. If you got to hit me, just freaking hit me. And he did. He really gave him a knockout punch in the ring. It was legit. And he was like, it looks good. To hell with it. I'm getting paid, and so's he. Let's go home. I mean,
this
he took
goes
it on
back
him.
to what Tom says a lot, and Harry has said it a few times. That's what makes Vince McMahon an evil genius. Look at the guys that he put in there, and these guys can wrestle now. Now he's realizing if they can wrestle, they can get the real pops. It's not just the stardom. It's, okay, we're bringing them into our world. They have to be a part of our world. And Vince had a big thing in doing that. Bad Bunny just didn't come in being a professional wrestler. Logan Paul didn't come in just being, knowing how to do all these moves. Neither did, McAfee as a professional football player. He had to have somebody come up to him and go, Vince, what if we train these guys and really bring them into our world and make them look good? And Vince was, oh yeah, let's do that. Let's pay him the money. Let's make it happen.
McAfee bought his own training ring. It is a WWE ring that he owns privately. That is his training ring.
Yeah, it's down in his barn somewhere or something.
No, it's where he broadcast the show from in was that Pittsburgh? Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he broadcast out of Pittsburgh, I believe, or somewhere. Wherever he broadcast his YouTube show
They
from.
showed it in the vignette before the match.
It's in that warehouse.
Oh wow,
that's a whole studio
That's
warehouse
dedication right there.
gym. Exactly. And I think that's the big trick with WWE is the passion that comes out of it. Kevin Owens, I love Kevin Owens. I love his work. Heel, face, don't care. Put him in the ring. I'm good. You put Kevin Owens up against a broom, and I'm going to watch it.
Yeah.
They basically have when he went up against Sami Zayn. But,
Where did that come from?
I'm not, so where that came from is this. Every time I've done a show, I talk about how abysmal Sami Zayn generally is. I'm not the biggest Sami Zayn fan. I'm really not.
Clearly.
This is true.
You don't say.
Hey, Scott,
You're sitting next to the biggest fan of Sami Zayn saying that.
no. And Scott always comes on my show and he's like, Sami Zayn's the GOAT. Sami Zayn's the GOAT. And I'm like, oh, it's a GOAT emoji. Oh, he's a jackass. Gotcha. and that's what I do. I move with that. But it's all in jest with Scott for that one.
Right.
It's not legit. I actually do find Sami.
I do find him a good wrestler. He's not the GOAT, but I do find him a Class A wrestler. I really.
Man, that to me right there was match of the night. Anybody else got anything to say on it?
The GOAT part is where I make it funny, but he is a good wrestler. But we're missing one point in all of this, in this match especially. Austin Theory let Pat McAfee put his life in his hands, and he sold for him, and that was great of him too.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Austin Theory, I mean, he's in a really good position right now. You could tell that he's well liked by Vince and company, because this was what, semi-main event?
Mm-hmm.
That's big for Austin Theory.
Sammy Boo.
And he's a Georgia guy, so I'm really proud of him.
Your dad agrees with me more than you. I like that, Scott.
He agrees on a lot of things more than me. There you go.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
But yeah, both of them did an extremely good job. And then
it was a good match.
After the fact, Pat McAfee kind of was like celebrating, and he baited Vince into the ring, and that was probably a big mistake. Just because
that right there killed everything.
I'm not going to say it killed everything, because for those of you who have been around me, I can separate things in my brain. I can delete that.
I have a look at this. When I saw it happening, my daughter was like, why is Mr. McMahon getting in there? Why would he do this? And I had to explain to her that, there was a time when Vince McMahon was actually a good wrestler. I mean, he was in his older years, but I mean, come on,
don't get carried away. Okay.
And I'm saying like top tier. I'm talking about him and Austin made a good story back in the day. I mean, it was good. Okay. You got to say it was good, because
it was.
I don't got to say he was a good wrestler. That's never going to happen.
Well, I'm not talking top tier, but he made it look good between him and Austin. Okay.
I mean,
Austin made it look good between him and
Vince
Austin.
is definitely never going to be a Bret Hart. I mean, but I'm just saying. He might be a Brooklyn Brawler, but not a Bret Hart.
If anything we learned from Vince and Pat McAfee is Vince just needs to call it quits in the ring too.
Well, that's what I'm leading into. I think this was Vince's last hurrah in the ring. He just wanted to go in there and take one more Stone Cold Stunner, one more, his last hurrah.
Or not take it, Yeah.
And,
terrible.
And the way he took the Stone Cold Stunner was miserable, but,
it was bad.
It was a falling sack of crap. Yes, I agree.
I mean, the man's 76 years old, but still, you had no business doing that.
No.
Chris Wonder Anderson straight up said,
one more shine. One more. He wanted to shine one more time.
Yeah, and that's fine. Give it to him. He's probably dead or done anyway. Not dead, done.
Don't say that. You're gonna have everybody in an uproar.
No, I'm not saying that. No, God, I really do think that the dude is gonna outlive me. So I don't know what that says about anybody else, but I have a feeling he's gonna outlive me.
And I want to say another thing about Vince. When you saw him, was it just me, or did his face look all like bloated? It didn't. He looked like, go back and watch it, his face looked really bloated, like he was sick or something. It didn't look. Just go back and watch it. Tell me what you think.
I think he's healthy, Scott. It's just his face does. That's one thing I have been focusing on lately. I'm looking at his face. It's really drawn up, and I don't know what kind of supplements that he has taken over the years to keep his body, his body the way
his face just didn't look right to me, man.
Yeah, so,
I was looking at that, and I said it out loud during the match. I was like,
I mean, I'm sure he did the steroids thing, didn't he?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's called Botox. Yeah. That's called Botox.
Well,
because
I figured that
he does. If you look at him, look a little in the face, he looks a little sickly.
Yeah.
in the face. But, I mean,
But-
but I
so-
knew I agree with Chris Thunder Anderson.
Oh,
talking
yeah.
about what Missy called it, because after Austin Theory won the match, I don't know if you
Nope.
saw it,
Pat
but the
McAfee
way,
won the match.
well, after Austin, did whatever, if you saw afterwards the way he was hitting the ropes and the turnbuckles, that was setting up, calling out for Stone Cold. Because
Yeah.
Stone Cold hit the ropes and turnbuckles the exact
Just
same
like
way.
that.
Yeah.
And I
So-
told my wife, I'm like, Stone Cold about to come out. She's like, how you know? I'm like, because the way he's climbing those turnbuckles is the exact way Stone Cold does it.
So when Vince got in the ring and started antagonizing him, he was hitting him. I was texting with Wesley Flasky, one of our loyal viewers and fans here in Norfolk, Virginia. Y'all know what I'm talking about. He jumps on
yeah.
y'all shit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But I was texting back and forth with him. I said, glass is about to shatter, my brother. And sure enough, after the 3 count was when it happened. I thought it was going to happen before the 3 count, but it is what it is. Moving on, we've got to get away from that because we got to go to another match that missed the mark. It missed the mark, ladies and gentlemen. It missed the mark.
Only because of an injury.
Yeah, I think Roman got hurt during that match.
He did. I got pictures of it from the way it looked like he tore his tricep.
Mm.
Yeah.
Even though he was saying it's out when he was talking to Paul, everybody was like, oh, it's out. His shoulders got dislocated. But if you look at it, it was a lump right here on the back of his arm. And that's a sure sign that your tricep has disconnected from the bone and rolled up.
Mm.
I'll send y'all the picture.
Did you see the color?
That's what
Yeah.
he's talking about.
Yeah,
That's exactly what he's
the
talking about.
color.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Mhm.
color was off too. And I
Mhm.
want to say, like probably, past his shoulder, around his back area was really discolored too.
Yeah.
I did
it been
notice that.
Has it been confirmed? Is he on the shelf? What's going on?
I haven't heard anything.
No.
I haven't heard anything, but if you see those pictures,
They're
man,
probably going to keep it hush hush for a little while.
I would think until WWE confirms something, we're all just no offense.
Speculating.
I think we're all guessing because I mean it's
Yeah.
right.
because
we
when
are.
he's laying there telling Paul it's out, Paul is working the camera, calling him my tribal chief. I
Right.
mean, would
Yes.
the cameraman have
yeah.
been right there? Would he have known to be as close? Would it have been the refs talking to him? Are you okay? Are you okay? I didn't see any of that happening. So I'm not saying
Right.
he's not
Nothing.
hurt,
Right.
but
I'm with you there, Tom. And the other thing is this: the WWE called, I believe they called an audible on the first match of the night or first match of the event where somebody got hurt and they changed the finish. I think that's if Roman was legitimately hurt, they'd have put the strap on Brock. I got no problem. I got no problem thinking that because it makes no sense. You can't have your champion go without defending that long, logically or logistically, for an injury of that magnitude. You know how long shoulders generally take to heal? How
But-
Bobby Lashley is in the ring. Tom, I said this on your show. I have
Yeah.
no clue how Bobby was in the ring if he just had shoulder surgery.
Yeah. Well, I
But
was thinking that
Roman got back up. It's not like he was not like Boogs where he physically couldn't stand. He's screaming like he in agony. Roman got back up and was moving around. I don't think you take it off of him.
Yeah. I was thinking the same thing. What you saying? You just said, Ron, that they would take it off of him if he was legitimately hurt. But I think he did get. I think he actually got hurt. I mean, I really do believe he got hurt. But
We don't know the severity.
yeah, right. Exactly. So,
But you could tell something was off in the way the match ended. You knew, just from how Roman's arm looked, his his shoulder and everything. You're like, something happened. Safety's important. So
no, yeah, definitely.
It's either that or
Disappointed. I still want The Rock to come out. Everybody's wanting The Rock to come out during this, and
Of course.
and I wouldn't have even cared if he would have showed up on the Teletron. That would have made my day. But
well,
again, disappointed. And they might just be building it, like everybody said earlier, for next year's WrestleMania, which is cool. I don't care. It could be The Rock's working on a movie and he can't get away, blah, blah, blah. He's, he's the biggest man in Hollywood. I can understand that. But the fans are crying out for it. And if WWE's just not doing it because the fans are calling for it, I'm upset. I'm
mean,
upset.
let me ask you guys this, and I know we got to take it home, but
yeah,
how do you put Roman over The Rock? Because at that point, you have said this is the best we've ever seen. He's beat every legend. He nearly retired The Undertaker. He's done all this stuff. He is invincible. Great. But now who takes the belt? Because Roman's not going to last forever. And eventually the title has to go to somebody else.
right.
Remember the Shawn and Brett promo where they're in the ring and Shawn's playing face and Brett's playing heel. And Shawn says, no, I don't call myself the best there is, best there was, best there ever will be. I don't want to paint myself in a corner I can't get out of. That's a good point. Like, they're saying no one can beat this guy ever. Cool. But someone's going to. So, like, I don't know if they're doing themselves any favors.
But what about this? Rock doesn't even have to wrestle him. What if Rock comes in, and again, I'm being a couch booker, and everybody could say, yeah, no, whatever. It's just something I'm throwing out there. What if The Rock shows up and just says, hey, you're not the head of the table. You know, look, I've got the same symbol on my arm that you do. I am a bigger legend than you'll ever be, blah, blah, blah. And to end this whole head of the table thing, and, you know, it might end up even being a change from heel to baby for him. Just so, okay, I got it. He takes the tribal chief thing off and walks out of the ring. I mean, somebody would take his belt before that happens, because it's not going to happen with his belt on. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see what you're saying, Scott, but I would have to disagree. I would go a different route.
I mean, there's a lot of ways you could go out. That's just one theory.
I get you, but the way I'm thinking about it is, okay, Roman has done, let's take it from a family point of view, all the way into wrestling. Roman has done everything in the family. He's been the star. He's done this, blah, 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 blah. Football, whatever. Okay. He's like, oh, yeah, I've done all this in the family and all that. And then you got family members, well, you hadn't done what your cousin done. And he grows up hearing this all the way through wrestling. Now he's at the top of his game in wrestling. Everybody's like, oh, you're the top guy in wrestling, but you still haven't done what your cousin's done.
Mm-hmm.
So now he's got to, you get to the point where, okay, look, this has got to come to a head.
So you're saying they got to fight?
Yeah, it's got to come to a head, and he's got to top him off.
So do you think The Rock's going to be the one to finally knock him off the top?
No,
And then Cody Rhodes is going.
Roman should be the one to knock off The Rock, and then Cody takes the belt off Roman.
Yeah, Cody could cash in the Money in the Bank and get it. Boom! There it is. Oh.
I mean that
couch booking.
I'm getting tired.
Yeah,
I just want to see, because the WWE is so bad at not making sense to end a long, great storyline like this. I just want to see something make sense for once.
Yeah.
well,
And the only one left, like Tom said, he's beaten everybody. I mean, he's Mr. McMahon's boy. He's beaten everybody. There's nobody that he can beat that's top tier anyway. You're not going to have, low new guy come in and just beat him. It's not going to happen.
He lost to Brock, what, 3 times at Mania? Or twice already?
Twice, I think.
Okay, so we already know he's not impervious. So there's that.
That's not the tribal chief. That wasn't the tribal chief that lost to Brock.
Yeah,
This
that was
was
exactly. That wasn't what the storyline was
saying?
now.
So
what they've molded him into.
He wasn't in God mode then, guys. He
This
just
is true. Wasn't in God mode. I agree. The other way I'm looking at this is like this. Every place he goes, he always talks about acknowledge me. So
Yes.
here's the easy way for that. He's gonna say, we're coming up on WrestleMania, and I'm gonna make everyone in Hollywood acknowledge me.
Mm-hmm.
And then you hear if you smell. I
But
think
again,
that's the direction.
who's going to win the match and why? You got Chris down here saying that Roman's going to win, and he's going to go on to be the best ever Samoan in of all time. But my question then is to Chris: then what? Then what? Who does he fight after that?
Well,
by then, if you're smart,
If somebody knocking him off of that and changing the direction of the story.
Money in the Bank has been easy to capture the title booty. That's right.
That's what I said.
like
Edwin
I said,
Reyes,
man,
I agree with you're not wrong on that. Or a multi-person match, elimination chambers away.
or
there's-
if they do the story right, by then Cody might be in position.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If they
that's
do
what
it
I'm
right,
saying.
Cody might be in position.
Yeah, I like
They could do, like, say Cody had Money in the Bank or something like that, and he actually cashed it in. They could do like Dolph Ziggler and Seth Rollins, actually get a little wrestling match out of it, and like really get people on the edge of their seats if they did it right. I could see that happening.
Yeah, I didn't agree as far as Rock coming back. I never have it's really never really made any sense to me. I mean, Chris have been talking about this for a little while. Scott, this is not something that's new. Chris has been like, man, the Rock, because I mean, Chris, that's his boy. That's
what they're making that whole story about. He's Samoan, he's head
know.
of the family.
I really don't care. I mean, because I look at it, I'm kind of like what Tom was saying earlier. I'm looking for somebody them to build up a new star. That's what I'm looking for. So, but what Chris, because Chris never have explained anything until this time, and what he just talked about as far as them building it up and Rock coming back, and then maybe Cody Rhodes taking them off of it. I like that. What him and Sarah's talking about, Cody Rhodes getting in the position. I think that will work out good. But besides all that, they're gonna have to pull something out of the bag and try to build up a new star instead of pulling out something that's old and rusty like they've been doing in the past. So I agree exactly with what. So this goes back to what Tom was talking about. I agree exactly with that. But I mean, I'm not. I mean, I guess I never got that too invested in The Rock to where I'm sitting there waiting for that glass to go.
No. I'm not talking about him taking the title from him. That's not. It wouldn't be a title match. It would be family supremacy, because that's what this thing is about. I'm the head of the family.
Head of the table, yeah.
He had his real grandpa from Samoa come and put the headdress on him, the whole 9 yards. It's all about the family. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But even if you want to put the cherry on the cake, you could put the title in there, because that is the ultimate caveat.
Rakish he's already done. The only guy left is The Rock that can get in the ring and make a legit last shot at that head of the table. You know what I'm saying?
And Roman would, like I said, would have to go over.
Right.
Can't be better than those that laid the foundation. The grand elders started the Anoa'i legacy. Rikishi, Rodney, and others laid the cement. Jimmy, Jay, Roman build it up.
There you go.
And that's not wrong. Reality is, I feel like if Roman beats The Rock, it solidifies him as being the top of the family now.
Hierarchy.
But it doesn't change anything going on in the WWE, because not everything makes sense in an entertainment company, right? So logically, just because you lose the title doesn't mean you're going to lose to The Rock. Right. And just because if you lose to if you beat The Rock, that doesn't mean you're unbeatable.
Right. Yes, it does.
Because
I disagree. They've put him over everybody. There's nobody left. No disrespect. There's nobody left. They have loved Roman since the day the Shield rolled up in there and they said, that's our guy. And they've got him to this point, and good for them, because he's very good. But I'm just saying it. Go ahead.
You don't think, I feel like Drew McIntyre is going to be the one to take the belt off of him within the next 4 months. You don't think so?
No. Because as we just said, look what Drew's doing. I mean, they can get him back to it, but can they?
As far as him dethroning the tribal chief,
I don't think that'll happen.
Unlikely, yeah, it's unlikely.
It won't happen anywhere but WrestleMania.
Remember when Mark Henry had Randy Orton's number? You remember that? And it was like, it was sort of not a black mark. I don't want to say that, but it was like, from where I was sitting, it was like, man, Mark Henry's got Randy Orton's number, dude. So like Randy was very good, and then Christian kind of had Randy's number, and you're like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And it kind of felt like, man, Randy's very good, but man, if he crosses that guy, there's nobody in that company because they love Roman, and that's fine. They've tied their horses to him, and he's pulling the cart. I get it, but like, I don't know. It's just weird for me because like, let's say everyone's right and Roman's shoulder is effed up. Well, what happens to that company if he goes on the shelf for 6 months? Who gets that belt? Because they'll hot shot book someone to it because they don't plan anything, it appears, other than for Roman and Brock. So if one of those guys goes down, what's left?
And when Roman comes back, he's getting it back just like
that.
Yeah.
Just like that.
And that's fine. It's their company. They can do what they want to do. But like Ron, I'm not disagreeing with your argument. I'm just saying it's like he's pinned everybody.
They're making Roman the next Hulk Hogan. They're feeding him everyone.
He is Hulk Hogan for this era.
I would submit he's better because
he can at least work in America.
If you look at the quality of opponents that Roman has beat versus Hogan, I know it's a long list, and Hogan beat some great guys. He also beat a lot of guys that maybe shouldn't have been challenging for the world title. Roman's beat legends. He's beat current guys. He's beat future guys. He beats everybody. Roman pinned me. I mean, I'm just saying it just happened.
Right.
He beat everybody.
And like I said, and this isn't me arguing with that.
No, it's fine.
My thing of it is, you haven't seen Randy Orton go up against the Tribal Chief, have we?
No, I don't remember.
Don't think so.
Since he's become the Tribal Chief, no.
So there's one.
Yeah.
Okay.
And now tell me where that would make sense.
Yeah, it would.
There's always something there. You've always got him, or at least for the next foreseeable future, you've got him. We have seen, Roman defeat pretty much everybody. It's not wrong. But I'm saying, just because he beats The Rock doesn't make him unbeatable by anybody else. Hogan lost to Yokozuna. Hogan lost to The Undertaker, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hogan lost to...
Yeah, that was Taker's first title win.
Yeah, it was.
Hogan lost to Psycho Sid at the time?
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah, because Sid did have the belt for a short little while.
Right.
I mean, there's three right there. I don't remember if it was Sid. Dude, you're talking. I was a kid, and
I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to remember if Sid beat Hogan or if he beat Nash.
Sid did beat Hogan, I think.
It was
I
Hogan?
think Sid beat Hart. Sid beat Hart.
Yeah,
didn't he?
Yeah. I could be wrong.
Sid beat Hart.
I'm gonna have to go in a few minutes because I have to take my medicine. If I don't take it religiously, y'all know what happens.
Yeah.
But I want to say one thing before I do leave. We have to give, and they gave him the proper love all weekend.
Oh, Taker.
We got to talk about Taker for a minute.
Yeah.
I mean, cahoots to what WWE did for the Taker all weekend, man. He deserved every single second of it. Man. I mean, I was sitting there through all of it, remembering every match, and I loved it. The only thing I wish Taker would have done,
say it,
during the Hall of Fame speech was give cahoots to Mick Foley.
There it is.
For the greatest match, in my personal opinion, in WWE history. He should have gave Mick Foley a second or two in that thank you. I'm sorry. Only thing that was missing. But other than that, the guy is I will honestly say, the greatest character that WWE will ever have in its whole entire running of its program.
There'll never be another.
And I told Harry, I was like, the only thing he was missing for us older guys, they remember. I wish he had it, and I know a lot of people wouldn't got it, but me and Harry and some older generation probably got it. If you'd have brought out the chalkboard and did the calculation like he used to do for the heart punch. When he was in WWE, when he was back in WCW. Y'all remember that?
Right. But he won't mention another company.
Of course.
You know,
but
and
I was just waiting for him to mention the Hell in a Cell, and he never did. And that's the only thing that man.
Well, yeah.
Believe it or not-
it was a good speech nonetheless.
It was.
Obviously, he forgot a few things, but for what it was worth, considering he had 30 years of stuff to remember.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Not-
thought it was great. I thought I loved peeking behind the curtain, so to speak. So I liked really hearing the stories. That's somebody I really hope will write an autobiography. I
Now-
really would love to
Oh, yeah.
see what he
He-
had to say.
He did make
And
a
of course, he had
reference.
to keep you hanging. He had to keep you hanging at the end.
See,
Yep.
yeah,
Has
never
never
say never. And he could have been the one to face Seth Rollins, and he would have got a bigger pop than Cody. Guaranteed you.
Thank but
I'll
anyway,
take my
Maybe.
check in increments. Thank you.
Negative.
I will. Well, you can collect it in May. Okay. How's that?
Okay. My
Oh.
birthday's May 1st, so yeah. That
Oh, well,
works
I'm
great.
talking about the end. I'm talking about the end of May.
Oh, my
and
God.
you gotta
Oh,
and you gotta
yeah.
collect it in person. You gotta collect in person.
I told my brother, I was like, yeah, he
But-
owes me, trust me.
But well, so here's the thing. Calloway did mention the boiler room match, which was
He
between him
did.
and Foley. I will say this about that.
He did mention Hell in a Cell. He's like, Vince was trying to kill me. He's put me in boiler room brawls, Hell in a Cells, buried alive matches. He did mention it.
Here's the thing. The Hell in the Cell match didn't do for Mark Calloway's career what it did for Mick Foley's career.
Mhm.
And I feel like while, yes, you do want to thank all your dance partners across 30 years,
right.
when you look at the guys that he's gone against, the most that were done for him were the guys that he mentioned.
Yeah.
But let me ask you something, Saint. Seriously, if you could interview The Undertaker for an hour, are you telling me you wouldn't bring up that Hell in a Cell match? Don't lie to me, bro. Don't lie to me.
I'm not. I need a moment to think about that, and I'll tell you why.
There's
My
no
brother and I, my brother Joe and I, Joe Mike, and if he's listening, hey man, I love you. We're gonna do something soon. I know. My brother and I talked about it. We were watching WrestleMania 12 or 14 years ago. Okay, I've been down here 8 years now. Okay,
Right.
12, 14 years ago, we're in an apartment that my wife and I rented above a bar. We're watching Mania together, and The Undertaker came out, and him and I are sitting there talking and drinking, and the conversation rolled out of, I can't wait for him to retire because I can't wait to hear Mark Calloway talk instead of The Undertaker talk. And I agreed wholeheartedly with that. In my opinion, if you're going to give me the honor, prestige of interviewing Mark Calloway, I am quite frankly going to sit down, shut up, and let that man say and do whatever in the blue hell he wants to say and do. Whether that means I get to ask a question or not is
Right.
irrelevant. Whether
Right.
I get to bring it up, that's up to him. I'm not, all right, certain people, I'm going to push their buttons. That's the fun part of being me. I like pushing people's buttons and seeing the reaction.
Right.
That's fun. That's
Right.
chemical.
Right.
When it comes to people like that, a legend in this industry, a living legend. If I got to sit here and interview George South, a man that most of us know personally and love him, okay, a man of Christ that he is, gives a testimonial at every wrestling show he works. I am not going to dictate what that man talks about.
But
I'm not going to do that.
But here's what I'm saying. Even Stone Cold, his wrestling brother, who was there through a lot of his, in the locker room, I'll say, with him all the way through, even on his podcast, he had to ask about the Hell in the Cell, dude. It was one of the greatest matches of all time. I mean,
all right, it was look, I'm not going to even say it was one of the greatest matches of all time. I love the match, don't get me wrong. But realistically, I'm thanking God that Mick Foley wasn't killed because I enjoyed what Foley did the rest of his career too.
Right.
As much as I liked Cactus and the old hardcore shtick,
Right.
I appreciate Mick Foley as a human being. I appreciate them as. It's so hard to quantify. It really is.
I don't want to make this into a whole hour-long conversation, but I was just kind of upset that was the only one thing he didn't mention. And that's nitpicking. I know it is, because Mark Calloway, like you said, just to hear Mark be Mark was awesome. When he mentioned the first thing he said was, "I'm going to be Mark Calloway. I'm not the Undertaker right now." And he spoke from his heart. And you could see he was hiding tears the whole time. It was awesome because for 30 years, we didn't get Mark Calloway. He was one of the true guys kayfabe to the hilt. And trust me, he even mentioned it. My wife and his first wife, they all knew he was the Undertaker. That was it. He was the Undertaker.
Matter of fact, y'all remember that interview from his first wife when they were doing that whole angle and they brought her in? And they interviewed him backstage, and she was with him, and I forget what the storyline was, whatever. He's standing there, right, just stoic, Undertaker, and she's going off. Oh, I'm so distraught. Mark, why you didn't help me? He just looked at her. This was on live TV, and he just looked at her like, "I will rip your throat out right now." He gave her that look, and I was scared for her. I was like, "Oh dear God, he's gonna kill me."
Sarah was actually his second wife.
That's probably what caused his divorce.
Yeah.
That was during the DDP angle, I believe.
Yeah.
But
she said that, I was like, "Ooh."
Guys, it's been a hell of a show. And in closing, I got one last thing to say to this. The part of the Hall of Fame that hit me, and I think hit almost everybody out there the hardest, was the Shad Gaspard tribute. And I'm going to tell you one thing. I have no problem telling you how much I loved it. I loved the move in the beginning with his son and JTG.
Yeah.
I loved the speech from his wife. I wish his son had said a couple things. The video package was everything I could have ever wanted. To hell with the Warrior Award. It can be renamed now. I'd be fine with it.
Yeah.
I loved it. And it was such an awesome point. Don't get me wrong. Steiner's was fun. And, and Vader's kid looks like he could work, man. I don't know. But there's a lot of things there. Queen Sharmell. Yeah. Queen Sharmell, a strong woman. That's great. I loved it all. But man, that Shad Gaspard thing.
It was a good Hall of Fame class. It really was.
It was. I ain't gonna lie to you. I cried through all of it. I remember the Steiners back when they were wrestling, bro. I remember when before Big Papa Pump and all that other stuff that they created, which was awesome in its own right. But when they came out as the original Steiners with the jackets on and all that good stuff. Oh man, that was the days back then, and them saying and him looking and saying I couldn't have done this with anybody but my brother. I mean, I was balling. It was a good time, man, and I wasn't too into the Queen Sharmell thing, but she deserves to be there. She put Booker up on a pedestal, man. She did her job, and she was awesome without a doubt.
People actually gave her hell, like, oh, she don't deserve it. Tori Wilson's in the Hall of Fame.
No, I don't believe that. And I don't believe that. Queen Sharmell was a great character.
Yes, she was.
Just like all the other great characters back then. I don't like the word. She was a manager. I don't like valet. I hate the word valet. I really do. They're all managers. They're all on equal footing. Don't separate the women from the men. I just don't like that. They're all on equal footing to me. And but she deserved to be there. And Vader, I definitely cried because Vader.
I wish they could have got it when he was alive. He should have got it when he was alive.
Vader is from North Carolina, South Carolina, and I'm that one right there. That was the one that really got me.
They should have gave it to him when he was alive, man.
Yes, they
Foley
should have.
Mick was pushing so hard. He was like, "Look, guys, get it, get him in there, get him in there." And then what happens? That God forbid, the next year he passes, and now we're just getting around to it, man. And Mick Foley pushed so hard for Vader to get in there, man.
Wow.
And you know who's going to be leading next year's class, right?
I don't think
Triple
Triple
H.
H goes in yet. I don't think he goes in next year.
You don't think he goes in right away?
Nope. I think next year in Hollywood is going to be The Rock's class. The following year will be Triple H's class.
Yeah, you can't put them two in the Hall of Fame together because it's just too big.
You're going to Hollywood next year, headlining the Hall of Fame is The Rock. He'll get introduced as the Hall of Famer, The Rock, when he goes in and loses to Roman Reigns that year at WrestleMania.
But I want to say this one thing though. Y'all were talking about the Hell in a Cell and everything, and the greatest match, and it was a great match. One thing that I remember years after about the Hell in a Cell that really tore me up, the episode of Holy Foley, when his daughter took him to the WWE archives, and they were walking through, and he was like, "Oh, I remember this piece of article of clothing. I wore this, and I remember that mask." And they get around to the Hell in a Cell, and it's
Original
just
cage.
and it's just folded up, and it's just stacked, folded up. Mick looks at it and touches it and starts boo-hooing like a baby. That tore me up, man. Because
that like the Saint said, that was his calling card match.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'll never forget the tooth in the nose. I'll never forget that ever. That image. Every time I think of that match, that's the first image I think of.
And Mick even said, who would have thought an inanimate object will have such a powerful hold over my life? Daggum near what was it been over 20, almost 30 plus years now or something like that?
20. It's been over 20 years.
Yeah, over 20 years, it still has that powerful hold over him like that. I was like, that made me cry. I was like, ooh wee.
He hates that match. Mick Foley hates that. He hates that match.
He came out recently during an interview and said he used to hate that match. He used to hate talking about that match, but he understands that match is what made his character. That match put that character into the stratosphere. I mean, he knows.
Man, hey, look, hey, dude, your dad is like smarter than most people because I agree 100%. I love Paul Heyman.
I guarantee you that's a rib. He hates Paul Heyman. I'm just telling you.
Paul Heyman.
Rib.
Hey, look,
he does deserve Hall of Fame.
Not only that, Paul Heyman is no different than I am, or maybe a couple of other people sitting around me, where we've just kind of worked our way into an industry, fell in butt backwards, and here we are, you know. But oh man, it was a great weekend of professional wrestling.
Man, it was.
Yeah.
It was good. There was a few downfalls. There was a few low points, but for the most part, very entertaining. Very, very entertaining. I enjoyed it.
It was just a busy week.
Yeah.
In general, to be a wrestling fan.
Yeah.
You know, it was
and that's excluding WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I gotta see where the Cody thing goes. I still stand behind what I said at the beginning of the show, and I know I'm the only one on this panel who believes that. But I got to see what they do with Cody in order to say, hey, okay, maybe that was the right thing. Maybe I'll change my mind down the road. It's happened. I've been talked into some things, but right now, I just, in my heart, I don't believe that was the right place for Cody to come out. But it was. Great show, great weekend. The two non-wrestlers blew my mind. They did. They blew my mind. And by gosh, I'm going to say this before I get out of here. Sammy is still and always will be the GOAT. He proved it.
All right. Let's go around the room one time and we'll get on out of here. Okay. I appreciate everybody.
I just did mine, guys. That's exactly what I would.
What's your show there, Genius? Where can we find you?
Hey, Truth. You can find me at Scott Larson on Facebook, or you can find me on YouTube under #Truth Indie Wrestling Podcast.
Tom Clark's main event for me. and also Tom Clark's 6M podcast on all the major platforms.
All right.
Yes, Sarah.
Harry.
Yes.
Oh, Sarah. Do you want to go?
We're going in
It
order.
don't matter. It don't matter. You can find me on Peaches and Power Bombs here on Facebook. We're on Twitter and Instagram and YouTube. And my co-host is Tina Miller. And hope to see you there.
All right.
All right.
Big
well,
ups to
you-
Tina, by the way. She's her.
Yep.
Hopefully, her health gets better soon. I had to throw that in.
Hell
there.
yeah. Prayers,
Yeah.
prayers to Tina.
Prayers to Tina.
Yes.
All right. Well, Christopher Burton on Facebook, one half of the baddest podcast this side of the Mississippi, Straight Up Wrestling Show, where you can find us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch.
Same thing. Harry Bernard Taylor, HBT, with my man Christopher Burton on those 4 platforms that he just shouted out. So
And I'm
it.
also going to say, lots of prayers and well wishes to my man Chris's wife.
Thank you.
Man.
Thank you.
100% behind that, and same with Tina. To everybody who couldn't be here tonight, the invites were in the chat room. I'm sorry y'all didn't come in, but there's always next time. We don't know when that's going to be, but for this time, it's been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun. You know where the hell you can find me. The Saint, Ron Emerson, the Real Wrestling Community, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. The podcast thing I'm probably going to delete because I don't know about that yet, but we'll figure it out next time. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again. It's been an honor having all of you here. To all the people out there watching, thank you once more. We hope you enjoyed it. Send us some feedback. Let us know. Have a good one. Thus proclaimed.